You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
Jankowski to Schumann. And the ground ball will end things. A 3-2 win for the Oakland Athletics. One more win for the Oakland fans.
A W on a day that everybody in the Bay needed one.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Friday edition of the Pete Sheppard Show here. It's Friday, September 27th. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out here across the Coastal Sports Network and the Coastal Sports Video Network. Follow me on Twitter X at PShep326. Facebook, SR1029 The Game. Actually, Facebook is having problems with our server right now. It's not on our end. It's with Facebook. Ion TV, CSN Florida, Rumble, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube. Call or text at 727-858-6650. How is everybody doing this morning? Man, oh man, what a rough night for many of us here in Dave in Southwest Florida, where I am in Fort Myers right now, which most of you know by now. I live a couple miles down the street from JetBlue. The Red Sox have spring training. We were extremely lucky. Didn't lose power, just heavy wind, some rain squalls at times, but so far, and the storm was way past. The only thing good about this storm, and the only thing, and I say that, is that it's the fastest moving hurricane I've ever seen. It's already into the Carolinas. It's now a tropical storm again, Helene, and crossing the Carolinas, and Tennessee is going to get it next. But welcome to the Pete Sheppard Show. Angel Martinez will not be joining us until about 8 o'clock this morning because he's been up all night in the Tampa area. It is just absolutely brutal what happened north of us. Now, let me just start locally here before we get into sports and Dallas's win and previewing everything else. I'll tell you what's coming up today. Obviously, we're going to have. There's no Red Sox game last night, so no Red Sox report. The last three games are now. Jerry Thornton from Barstool Sports is going to join me at 8:30. Interesting stuff from El Prez, Dave Portnoy, who wants to make a donation to Michigan, a big one. I'll tell you why afterwards. I'll have my pigskin picks at 9. Gabe Morency will have his our professional handicapper, will have his coming up at 9:30. I just want to say right now, anybody who is listening to the show, I know it's many of you, I can tell you this. I just heard moments ago watching Wink News. And let me just say, I commend all the local news stations down here in Southwest Florida, whether it be, NBC, ABC, Fox, CBS. They've all done, their affiliates have all done a remarkable job. One of the people I rely on the most is Matt Devitt from Wink News down here. He has got to be, and they're all the meteorologists and all the local stations are all excellent. But Matt there's something about him that he has a calming presence about him when he's talking about the weather that other people don't. And we'll tell you the faux pas that I believe the Weather Channel caused another panic attack yesterday, at least for a little bit, for some people in Tampa. I'll get to that in a second. I just heard Fort Myers Beach Mayor Dan Allers earlier today on the local news. And I'm telling everybody right now, do not go down to Fort Myers Beach. Stay off of Estero Boulevard, especially the north side. Well, the whole thing. Do not go down there and take any videos or pictures. The place is still totally flooded out. The mayor says they're going to bring some big-time heavy equipment, moving some sand and other debris. That obviously it's low tide right now, so that they're kind of lucky there. High tide a little bit later on. Our friends in Naples, meanwhile, high tide for them is going to be this morning at about 10 a.m. So just take that in consideration. Downtown Fort Myers, not Fort Myers Beach is bad enough. Downtown Fort Myers is still flooded. I'd stay away from that area too for the next couple hours until there's a lot of the drains were blocked. You know how it is down here. For whatever reason, the drains get blocked, things get flooded. The water comes in so fast and furious, it's just hard to keep up. But stay away from Fort Myers Beach right now and stay away from areas that you know are flooded. I saw a lady this morning, Marsha something, on Wink News. She was in Inglewood, and her house is the closest to the beach. They did about almost a 10-minute interview with her. She crazy. She had a West Virginia Mountaineers football shirt on. And she stayed. She said it was stupid that her and her husband, I believe, stayed. They only interviewed her. Meanwhile, while they're interviewing her, the waves are crashing over, onto her front lanai on the deck, and maybe gone into her house. I don't understand it. I saw a gentleman, I believe, in Cedar Key, where they had surges of 15 to 20 feet, and he was in his house in a kayak. And once Angel comes out at 8 o'clock, we'll have the video for you. But just absolutely unbelievable what is going on. To put it in perspective, the Big Bend area of Florida, which is the top of the Panhandle of Tallahassee, and when you see it, curve like that bend, is the strongest hurricane in the history of the state. They said it never has a Cat 4 hit that part of the state up by Cedar Key, and then moving on into Tallahassee. Up there. Absolutely devastating. The winds and the flooding, just unbelievable. So I hope where everybody is in Florida, wherever they are, especially in Southwest Florida and up in the Big Bend area, Tallahassee, I've reached out to our good friend Mia O'Brien to see if she is okay. I've not heard back from her yet. Hopefully she is, because she's up in that area as well. So just be safe, everybody, and don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. Don't go out unnecessarily. Try to be a hero, taking pictures and videos and all that crap. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And I can tell you, I'm going to be a spokesman for Dan Allers, the mayor of Fort Myers Beach. Stay away today, or for most of the day. I don't even know what businesses, if any, are actually going to be open. My guess is not many at all. So stay away. Heavy equipment is going to be there all day and probably into tonight, trying to clear sand and debris, and there's a lot of it. I went to Publix up the street over my house yesterday about 5:15 in the afternoon. Luckily, it was still open. It wasn't that bad. Actually the sun was out. It was windy. We got some rain. We got some squalls, but mostly when I went, it was just wind all over the place. And the parking lot was debris, crazy stuff. The wind was crazy. I almost got it's hard to open my door. Even for me, the wind was blowing so hard. We were still getting gusts of like 40, 50 miles an hour late afternoon. Yesterday, we got some more squalls into the evening. But overall, at least where I am in my part of Fort Myers, which is really in between Fort Myers Beach and downtown Fort Myers. And we were extremely lucky in this area, in the Gateway, Timber Creek area. Very, very lucky, most of us anyway. So there's still a lot of puddles out there. There's a lot of flooding. They originally yesterday said schools in Lee and Collier County were going to be open, and then they switched that, so everything's closed. I'm sure that was a parent's nightmare for some today. But nevertheless, everybody's safe, and schools are closed. Florida Gulf Coast University is closed as well, and I can't even imagine. We'll talk to Angel after 8 o'clock and get the. He said he was up all night. He got about an hour and a half sleep, so. He's trying to catch some shut-eye for a little bit before he jumps on at 8 o'clock. But I can only imagine. I've seen some of the videos. The mess up in Southwest Florida is unbelievable. I got some videos which will show when Angel comes on. The guy in the kayak, amazing in his house. I mean, just up to neck level. Crazy, crazy stuff. Cedar Key, 15 to 20-foot surges. I've never seen anything like it. And as I said, the Big Bend area of Florida, up by the Panhandle, is the strongest hurricane on record to hit that part of the state. A Cat 4. It's a tropical storm now, as it's moved up to the Carolinas and onto Tennessee. But nevertheless, some wind and rain and everything else. Flights at RSW, I just saw, there are going to be some delays this morning, depending on where you're going. But they just saw a report. They are back to a normal schedule with a few delays. And I will be there later this afternoon because we are flying out. Peanut Gallery and I are flying out to South Carolina later on this afternoon and then staying overnight. And we're picking up our brand new, our not brand new, but she's brand new to us, beautiful Luna, our 6-year-old rescue Scotty Terrier that we will be driving back from South Carolina once we land later on tonight about 6:25. It's only a couple-hour flight from here at RSW, so easy peasy. And right now, everything is on schedule for now. Even though the tropical storm is hitting that area, by the time we get on board and our flight takes off at 4:25, I think. So we'll be everything right now. We should be okay. Very, very lucky. We actually had a rental car on standby in case they canceled all the flights. We were going to drive up, which is about 10 hours. But thank goodness we can fly up and we will drive back. And on Monday, I will have beautiful little Luna here with me, at least for a little bit. Show you guys on my lap, which she's going to be a Hurricanes fan real quick. Speaking of them, they're in action tonight as well at home at Hard Rock against Virginia Tech. I hope all the Canes, my brothers and sisters, go out and get that place rocking. Big ACC matchup, first one out of the gate for the Miami Hurricanes, and they're 19-point favorites. We'll get to the NFL and more college football news. We have MLB rundown. You heard me play the cut at the top. The Oakland, the Coliseum yesterday had its final game for the A's, and it was won 3-2 by Oakland. So the Coliseum will no longer. We know the Raiders aren't there anymore, and now the A's aren't there anymore. And but 46,889 under a cloudless blue September sky. And the big chant of the day out there was "Sell the team, sell the team." Then a few "Let's go Oakland" cheers were out there as well. So 57 years down the tubes because Fisher and just an absolute bonehead guy who owns the team. And people think the fans are gonna flood to Vegas to go watch them. Ain't going to happen. They're going to play in upstate, in the Sacramento area for the next couple of years while the stadium's built. But just sad. I'm a baseball nostalgia guy. A lot of great memories in that stadium over my lifetime, especially for baseball. I mean, the A's back in the early 70s won 3 straight titles, 72, 73, 74. Red Sox finally got to them in 75 in the ALCS and beat them in 3 straight before going on to lose to Cincinnati. But Red Sox and Oakland have had a few good playoff series over the years, but going to be missed. Coliseum going to be missed. But 46,889 people showed up yesterday. So, again, we'll keep you up to date on a lot of the weather. I'm solo for a good until 8 o'clock this morning here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network. Got some good video for you. Going to have a lot of preview sound, and we're going to recap last night's game right now with the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. It was a boring game. There were a couple of interesting plays. Excuse me. I know I get it's just weird being in here sometimes in the office, and it's like stuff starts to leak on me, and it's gross, but. Here I am. Hope you're not having your breakfast this morning. The 7 field goals combined in the game. 7. Giants couldn't get in the end zone. Well, Daniel Jones played reasonably well. Once again, 3rd straight game. He's actually looked way better than people thought. But in the end, too much Cowboys. And I know on my picks yesterday, I had Dallas -5, so they pushed. I know a lot of you lost last night because the line went up to 5.5, but I only go by when I do my picks what the line is on Thursday. So I had the Cowboys -5, so that's a push. I'll have all my picks at 9 o'clock. Gabe Morency will have his at 9:30. But for some of you, I know that missed field goal at the end of the game by the Cowboys was tough. Brandon Aubrey, who never misses, especially, he hit a 60-yarder last night, missed a 51-yarder late in the game that would have put the Cowboys, covering the spread. So I know some of you were like, no, because he's so automatic. Dak Prescott has actually an interesting take on that. Game was on Amazon Prime last night. I don't know about you guys, or maybe it's where I was last night. It was like low def blurry for the first quarter anyway. It was frustrating, and I don't know if it's because we were getting the power never went out at my house. It didn't even flicker last night. The only time it flickered was during the show yesterday. Remember, my lights were flickering above me, but the rest of the day, the power never even blinked. Actually, you know what? I take that back. It did blink one time for a second. It blinked one time for a second in the second quarter. We got a squall and some heavy wind for about 5 minutes. So it did blink around in the second quarter last night, which was close to 9 o'clock, maybe a tad after. But other than that, was it me or it might have just been the Southwest weather? But Amazon was a tad blurry last night early on, frustrating. You get used to high def, you get used to a certain standard, and then that happens. Anywho, it was kind of a boring game. So let's run down the highlights here as well on what happened last night. Let's start at the end. Here's how the game ended.
Jones launching it deep downfield, and it's taken away. Aurorier.
Yep. And they answered the call tonight, not only against the run, but through the injuries in a short week, played with some newfound confidence that I'm sure they'll use as a springboard into their coming weeks that they have with the Steelers, the Lions, and the 49ers.
All right, thanks to Amazon Prime last night, obviously, with Kirk Herbstreit and Al Michaels. Some of the other highlights in the game. Let's see. Let's go. CeeDee Lamb, Mr. Mouth, but redeemed himself. I mean, he's a great player. He's one of the best. Here's a big 55-yard touchdown.
Being physical in the run game.
Second year out of North Dakota State to the sideline. Here goes Lamb. He gets free on the inside. CeeDee Lamb. Touchdown.
CeeDee Lamb. After the game, he talked about it. I mean, he just juked a couple of players, and they're easy peasy for him.
Finally got one-on-one. I think that was the only one-on-one I got all game, and we exploited it. Shout out Dak for the ball. Shout out the OC for the play call. So.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb also on the win versus the Giants last night.
It's obviously getting started early is very important. Getting a feel for the game, seeing how they're covering me, and then kind of exposing their hand early. So felt good. Appreciate it.
That's from the Cowboys webpage, and CD also talking about that they're staying true to themselves.
CD, how different does it feel walking off this field compared to how you felt on Sunday?
Obviously, in better graces because we ended up with a dub. Got a mini bye week coming up. Got a lot of time to rest my body and got a little more involved.
How were you able to do that? What led to your success so many different ways in this offensive game plan?
Just staying true to who I am. Obviously, my coaches and my guys believing in me. They're doing their 111, I'm doing mine, and that's to be as motivational and make plays for the guys.
I saw your celebration after that 55-yard touchdown. What did that one mean to you after the week you'd had?
Physical in the run game.
Very long week, as we all know. It was a short week. I'm grateful for the opportunity, obviously. I'm very passionate about this game. Happy to do what I love week in and week out. And I'll see y'all again in Pittsburgh.
There's been a lot of noise surrounding this team this week. What do you think was the difference maker for you guys to come out and get this W tonight as a team?
We got to play with our chip on our shoulder. We can't really get too content with who we are and who we have on this roster. Obviously, you look from top to bottom, we could go toe-to-toe with anybody. But just staying positive. Again, staying true to who we are, making our right plays, being where we got to be, and then this will be the result.
Was there anyone who said anything among the Cowboy players this week that really set the tone for who you all needed to be tonight?
Coach, I mean, it went around the room, to be honest. Everybody had their moment, if you will. And it was felt throughout the team. I feel like we didn't get out to the start that we needed to, but I mean, it's a long season. We still got 13 more weeks after this one, and I'm looking forward to the future.
All right, CeeDee Lamb last night on Amazon Prime in the post game right there. Dak Prescott had a couple of touchdown passes as well, and the Cowboys own the Giants. They won for the 7th straight time against them, and they're 14-1. Dallas is against the Giants in their last 15 games. Let's see. Here's some more highlights and some more sound from the game last night. Here's, at the end, I told you, Brandon Aubrey missed a 51-yard field goal late in the game, and Dak Prescott explained or had a theory. I say Dak Prescott had a theory. See, this is what Angel goes through sometimes. Hang on, hold on, stand by. I say, Dak Prescott explained the reason Brandon Aubrey missed his 51-yard field goal. Or not. All right, we'll move on. Let's see if this cut works. Dak Prescott in the first division win tonight. All right, now this is pissing me off. I will get it. Hold on. All right, I'm going to try something real quick here. Let me see. Get back on track. Now, for some reason, all of a sudden, that is not working. So, let me reload my sound here. Give me 2 seconds, everybody. Give me 2 seconds, and I'll get it back up in a second. Sometimes, as Angel likes to say, shit happens. So, anywho, today is the 27th. Let's load our total sports prep once again, and it'll be back up here in a second. Boom. Okay. Now, I said, let's see if this works. Dak Prescott explains the reason why Brandon Aubrey missed the 51-yard field goal.
Yeah, he's special. He's a great talent. I think that one was too short for him. He just wanted to, give it a little bit of cinematic end right there. But he's a special guy. Every great quarterback has a really, really good kicker. Look at the history of it. So it's so blessed to have him. He can make it from anywhere. I'm going to call that one a fluke.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a fluke. Some people are pissed because the Cowboys didn't cover last night. The line was 5.5, so that was a big loss for a lot of people, I'm sure. That's why you tease games sometimes. People say teasers don't work. You're crazy. Also, Dak last night in the first division win.
How vital was getting a win tonight?
It was huge. Yeah, after obviously losing 2, especially at home. Coming on the road, first division game. Division wins are always tough. As I said, then you add on the road. Before a long weekend, puts a better taste in our mouth. But at the end of the day, as I've said, even after those 2 losses, a couple weeks, or the past 2 weeks, it's a process. So we're not going to get complacent. We're not going to get overexcited about what we've done tonight. It's about building, and it's about figuring out what we can do better in all phases. But it's a lot easier to do that with the win.
Meanwhile, Dallas Cowboy head coach Mike McCarthy on the bounce back win on a short week.
Short week coming off the games you came off at home. How satisfying just to get a win in any kind of manner?
Absolutely. I mean, winning's always a great thing, especially on the road. Road wins are the best. Division games, you can add another layer to it. So, yeah, we feel great about what we accomplished tonight, but I think it's, for the 4th week in a row, we realize that we have a lot of work to do.
And Mike McCarthy especially proud of the D.
Talk about the resiliency of your defense. You didn't really get any stops in the first half, and you lost Micah, and you lost DeMarcus Lawrence, and there was a time when even Diggs was out the field, and you were able to get those stops in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, also the time of possession, was definitely in their favor. So I thought those guys just really stepped up, played a lot of guys on defense, rotating through. But yeah, I mean, you need wins like this, division wins on the road. So we overcame a lot. So it's a good one to get.
All right, on the other side, Brian Daboll talked about Daniel Jones.
Can you elaborate on Daniel?
Daniel? Yeah, no, 3 games in a row. I'm proud of the young man. He's made good decisions. He's thrown the ball where he needs to throw the ball. I mean, the last play to Hyatt, that's keep it down there and see if we can get a DPI or we can go up and try to make a play. But I thought, for 3 games he's been locked in. He's played well. He's seen the field. He's delivered the ball where he needs to. Again, we had some opportunities to continue drives today as well. So I'm proud of how he's performed, how he's prepared. He's done a nice job for us.
All right. Meanwhile, Daniel Jones talked about. Oh, actually, I'm going to say one more from Brian Daboll. Talked about the Giants' decision to kick a short field goal in the 3rd quarter.
Is there any thought to going for it on 4th down after the Wandell catch that took you guys down like the 3-4 yard line?
No, we were gonna go for points on that one. Yeah.
Why? What was the reason for that?
To get 3 points. I mean, it was a close game, so we didn't know what we need at the end there. But we were gonna kick it.
Thanks to SNY Giants right there. Also, now Daniel Jones talked about Malik Neighbors, rookie out of LSU, and his performance last night, even though he got hurt.
Think Malik had that catch on the 4th down play?
It looked like he did from my view on it. So yeah, I mean he played a heck of a game again, and he's shown up for us big time. So we'll keep trusting him with it.
Yeah, Daniel Jones last night, by the way, 29 of 40, 281 yards, no touchdowns, and one interception, which happened at the end on the Hail Mary. Overall, he's played very well. I think he surprised a lot of people. The rookie out of LSU, Malik Neighbors, who got hurt last night later in the game, finished with 12 catches, 15 targets, 12 catches, 150 yards. They couldn't stop him. Fortunately, in the red zone, they couldn't get in. Giants could not get in. They had a whole bunch of field goals last night, 7 combined in that game. Moving on, more from Brian Daboll, or Daniel Jones, I should say, said he felt good about the Giants going toe-to-toe. Was asked if he felt good about the Giants going toe-to-toe with the Cowboys.
Can you feel good about going toe-to-toe with them tonight, or do you not feel
No,
that
we
way?
don't feel good. We don't feel good about losing. We didn't do enough to win, and we're frustrated. We're not discouraged. I think we're so confident in our team and what we can do, but no, we don't feel good about losing.
No, nor should you. But they did. Again, the Cowboys just owned the Giants. 7 straight, 14 out of 15. As you said, later on in that game. I mean, Brandon Aubrey kicked field goals of 60 and 40 yards for Dallas. They came into the game with major concerns after being thoroughly beaten, as you know, by New Orleans and Baltimore. And now they have an issue during the game. Micah Parsons got hurt. So he was carted off the field in the fourth quarter. He's getting x-rays today. And Greg Joseph, meanwhile, for the Giants, made field goals of 52, 41, 38, 22, and 42. 5 field goals for the Giants. No touchdowns. Very reminiscent of what Washington did to them a couple of weeks ago. Washington had 7 field goals for 21 points in that win. And the Giants, they controlled the ball for 35 minutes and 37 seconds. As I said, they did not score a touchdown. They had 2 field goals in that 28-6 loss to Minnesota in their opener. Let's see. Neighbors, again, as I said, big game for him. Targeted 15 times, caught 12 catches. And Wan'Dale Robinson, also from South Carolina, I believe. He's a Gamecock. He was targeted. He got 11 catches, 71 yards. But the one thing he could not do, once again, was they could not find the end zone. So defensive end, DeMarcus Lawrence, who had a sack in the first half to run his career total to 61.5. He left in the second half with a foot injury. Rookie starting cornerback Kalen Carson and backup safety Marquise Bell with an ankle. They were inactive after being listed as doubtful. Andrew Booth started for Carson and was relieved by Amani Omarue at the start of the second half. For the Giants, Neighbors, a 6th overall draft pick and a breakout star. He suffered a concussion New York's next to last series. And he looked okay after he was shaken up clearly. It took him a few seconds to get back up, but you never know. He might be in concussion protocol. He might be out next week. So for Dallas, they're at Pittsburgh for a Sunday night game on October 6th, the second of their 5 scheduled primetime appearances. And the Giants head to Seattle on October 6th. So there's your Thursday night football recap. We'll have a whole lot more coming up. Lots of preview sound. I'll be previewing Tampa Bay and Philadelphia, Miami's Monday nighter against Tennessee. The Patriots go out west. Biggest line of the week. They are 10.5-point underdogs right now as they head to San Francisco. And I can tell you that all those underdogs that are 7.5 plus or more this year, an incredible percentage, maybe not winning, but definitely covering. We'll have all that. We'll have a whole lot more. I am Pete Sheppard here on the Coastal Sports Network. Angel Martinez catching a few Z's, a little kip time, as hopefully he will be on with me at 8 o'clock. And for nothing else, just want to see what it is like up there in Tampa. I've seen some of the videos on local television. As I said earlier, guys and girls, Dan Allers, the Fort Myers Beach mayor, has 2 words: stay away today. So that's 3 words. Stay away. Lots of heavy equipment coming in, moving sand and other debris around. All right, quick break. When we come back, we'll have, I got some funny stuff today, too. Wait till you hear Chris Mad Dog Russo and trying to come up with names for superheroes, because they were making fun of him on the morning show the other day. Meanwhile, lots more coming up, lots of college football news coming up as well. Big game tonight from Miami Hurricanes at home at Hard Rock against Virginia Tech. We'll talk about that a little bit. MLB rundown, more nostalgia from Oakland and the Coliseum closing after yesterday's 3-2 win over the Texas Rangers in front of a capacity crowd. That and a whole lot more coming up today on a Freaky Friday, Football Friday here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jimmy the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
Phil Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Mass. is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Don't miss the return of the legend, former Bruins goalie Tim Thomas. Tim will be at Sports World on Saturday, October 5th from noon until 2 p.m. Tim will be signing and taking photos. Prices vary, so don't miss this awesome event. Saturday, October 5th at Sports World, 184 Broadway in Saugus, Massachusetts. Call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you. You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home. Awesome. Where were you, Jill? Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
Jones, back to throw, wide open, his neighbors. Wide open by 10 yards.
So Booth, 25, is in for him. He gives him a little double move. Talked about Dable being aggressive. That's third down. He goes right after the inexperienced corner, Andrew Booth. Tested him with your best weapon, neighbors, and they win that matchup on third down.
As they say, Carson out, so Booth.
Yes, thanks to Amazon Prime last night. Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit with the call last night. Dallas wins over the Giants 20-15. Malik Neighbors had a great game for him. He did get concussed at the end, but was targeted a whole bunch of times last night. And the Cowboys hang on to win 20-15, but they did not cover by a point and a half. And I'm playing Come On Eileen because it's the closest song I have to Come On Haleen, the hurricane that tore through southwest Florida and up to the Big Bend, and that turned into a Cat 4 yesterday. It's already moved on. Like I said, the only good thing, and it left a whole bunch of damage and flooding to a lot of communities from Marco Island all the way up into the Big Bend area, Panhandle area. And hopefully my friends up in that area are recovering, and everybody around here in Southwest Florida is just, don't go to any of the flooded areas. Downtown Fort Myers is bad. Fort Myers Beach, stay away for a while today, as I said. The mayor says they're getting construction trucks, and they will be working throughout the day to get rid of all that sand and debris and other stuff. And for you nut jobs who think you need to go in the water with boogie boards and whatever, I'm telling you, you're risking your life. I understand, big, huge waves like this, they're an attraction. I get it. But that stuff that's being churned up in the water is it's gross. A lot of it is gross right now, and you don't know what's in there. There's glass, and God only knows what else. Stay out of the water. And those of you also walking around sort of in the water, you think you got boots, and you're going to wade through some of these big puddles on Fort Myers Beach and downtown Fort Myers and in Naples. I'm telling you, and I saw it this morning, there were a lot of gators out there that are in the streets that are swimming. They've been forced out of their respective environments, and there are a lot of gators I saw this morning on a bunch of news stations around in Southwest Florida. You see them. They've been displaced. They're in the streets. They're in the ocean sometimes. I've seen them swimming down the street. I've seen them in ponds that were never ponds before. So I'm just telling you, be careful. You're out there wading around. There's snakes and stuff. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Stay away from those areas, and don't go out unless you absolutely have to. Schools are closed down here in Southwest Florida. I'm sure they're closed all the way up to the Big Bend area, as I said. Never before has the Big Bend area of Florida experienced a Cat 4 hurricane like that. The storm surges up in Cedar Key and beyond, 15 to 20 feet. Never seen anything like it. All right, before we move on, I want to tell everybody, for the best articles in audio, there's only one source that provides everything you need 365 days a year to satisfy your sports crave. It's Total Sports Prep. The staff combs through the best articles in audio so you don't have to. Sports and non-sports kicker stories will leave you laughing all day long. To get your free trial of Total Sports Prep, contact them at sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. That's info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. Total Sports Prep, the name says it all. Yes, it does indeed. Sorry about the noise. So coming up later on today, in a few minutes, or after next hour at 8:15, we'll have the Red Sox report. They close out their season at home against Tampa Bay. Jerry Thornton from Barstool Sports will join me at 8:30 a.m. We'll have my Pigskin Picks at 9 o'clock this morning, and Gabe Arenci at 9:30. Sports Rage will have his. Jerry is going to comment also on an interesting. I should just play that for you now. Actually, no, let me do some more preview sound for the NFL. But Dave Portnoy, El Prez, one of my favorite people on the planet, he has a proposal for the University of Michigan. He's, in addition to being a great Boston sports fan, he is one of the biggest Michigan Wolverine fans that I know. And he has a proposal for the Wolverines. And I don't know how they're going to have to take him up on the offer. I believe that. All right, let's continue with some preview sound here a little bit. Let's go to Philadelphia and Tampa Bay. Angels, Eagles. My buddy Trevor Harris is coming down today, trying to anyway, to the Clearwater area. He'll be at the Philadelphia-Tampa Bay game as well. Let's get some preview sound for that big game for both teams, obviously. Philadelphia coming off that big win on the road against New Orleans. Tampa Bay coming off a bad loss at home to Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. Here's Jalen Hurts of what Nick Sirianni has been handling the criticism this week.
Nick's been under a lot of criticism this week for some of his decision-making. You obviously get a unique perspective as one of his players. Can you kind of give us behind-the-scenes look on what Nick's like as a head coach, and especially during maybe some turbulent times?
I've been really focused on just attacking every day, and I think this team has been the same way. And Nick's putting his best effort forward and doing that, and he's doing a great job in leading, delivering a message, and in the end, we just have to stay together through any moment, I mentioned it in the game. I mention it all the time, but, just not riding waves and keeping the main thing. That's what we're focused on, and that's what I'll try and do to, lead us in that way.
All right. Meanwhile, head coach of the Eagles, Nick Sirianni, Quentin Mitchell, starting at outside corner this week.
Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, we have ability to be flexible with the different pieces that we have back there, so you never know. As far as just how he's done, and I think he's done a nice job. I think he's made some good plays on the football. I think he's, we told you guys from the beginning, very confident and not fazed by anything. And he gets to go against, two really good receivers and our entire receiving core actually every day at practice. So I think that's really prepared him. And then, what deep ball, those deep balls that he's been getting hands on, those are obviously big plays. They count for PBUs for Q, but had they catch those are explosive plays for the offense. So those are huge plays. And he's done a nice job. That was a really good one on the double move on the third down that he made the play on 22 on the last game. So he's done a nice job. And again, it's just the moment's not too big for him. I think that speaks a lot to the character of Q. That he's just same guy every day, just working to get better and not over, doesn't make the big deal about the moment. He's just in the moment of where he is.
Nick Sirianni on Q. The only two Qs I know of are from Star Trek. John Delancey, one of my nerdy favorite characters of all time. And of course, Q, Rich Quinones, who does a great job here on the Coastal Sports Network from 4 to 6, The Drive, which I believe he will be on today from 4 to 6 p.m. if he has power as well. But I think he does, because I think he's in New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I believe he's in New Jersey. Meanwhile, on the Tampa Bay side, Todd Bowles on whether Bucky Irving has earned the right to be the starting running back.
What do you think it's going to take to get the running game going? And has he earned the right to be the starting running back now?
No, as far as the running game going, everybody's got to do their job, from coaches to players, receivers, tight ends, offensive line, running backs at the same time. We're going to need Bucky and Rashad all year. Bucky had some scheme runs that worked, and Rashad had some didn't. That doesn't mean he's playing better. That means we couldn't get the ball open when we had Rashad back there. We're going to use them both all year. How they play and how much they play will change every game, so it's going to be no different.
See how my twisted mind works. So all I'm thinking of is Eddie Murphy in Trading in a Beverly Hills Cop when he says to the African-American officer, "You're going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe?" No, you can just say it like this, brother. "Hey, man, you're going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe." The Todd Bowles makes me think of Eddie Murphy making fun of the police officer. "You're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe." Anyway. That shit's funny to me. What can I tell you? That's how my little twisted mind works. Jacksonville at Houston. Oh, my goodness. Talk about a desperate Jacksonville Jaguars team. Doug Peterson, maybe, is probably, not maybe, he is coaching for his life in this one. But DeMarco Ryans and company in the Astros. The Texans coming off a really bad loss. I mean, Minnesota really blasted them. Kudos to the Vikings. We'll get to them a little bit later on. But they're 2-1. Jags are 0-3 and desperate. But DeMarco Ryans talks about the bad beat by the Vikings last week.
Last week we didn't play well. At the end of the day, that's all it came down to. We didn't play well. We had some good moments where we executed, made some nice plays, but they were negated by us. So it's very hard to win, again, when you got the Texans and the Vikings playing against the Texans. That's pretty hard to win that game. So once we get the Texans out of the way and we just go focus on our opponent and we handle us well, then we'll be just fine.
All right. Meanwhile, Doug Peterson, again, coaching for his proverbial life on Trevor Lawrence during that rough start.
Success that he is fighting, because clearly this team, for whatever reason, has not responded well to adverse situations, at least in the last, almost in the last year or so. How would you say Trevor is responding to this very tough stretch?
I think he's handling it really well. He's taken ownership in his play, which he should. He's not pointing a finger or he's, if anything, he's pointing it at himself. And that's where it has to start. And then you work from there. And he's really embraced that. And I keep just encouraging him to take the lead with the team, and sometimes you got to be vulnerable, right? As a leader. And especially when you're going through stretches like we're going through right now, and be honest with yourself and can take the criticism, but at the same time, I see him, working in practice, working with his players, working with us as coaches. The communication is always at an utmost high, and you just slowly dig yourself out.
All right, here's more from Doug Peterson talking about hockey shift substitutions on defense.
Being a little bit in question, obviously Tyson on IR,
That's
now
me,
Poirier potentially out on Sunday. The hockey shift rotation that Ryan wants to run, how challenging is it?
Well, it probably doesn't get as challenging as much as now it becomes a little more black and white. The guys are going to be in, the guys are going to be in. I think the rotation up front's been really good for us. As far as, giving guys opportunities and much needed rest throughout the game so they can be healthy in the fourth quarter and fresh in the fourth quarter. But, yeah, we know injuries are a part of the game. Next man steps up and performs, and whoever's in has to play.
Is that one of the things when you said Monday night that everything's on the table and in self-review yesterday? I know you kind of hinted at it yesterday. I'm assuming that this kind of, lent itself, unfortunately, for better or worse, that this was one of the things that would change.
Yeah, it's part of it, and we look at everything. I look at everything, and I don't think you just go and you just make change to change. I don't think that's necessarily the thing you need to do because it's still early in the season. But I think we have to, take a strong look at all the possibilities, whatever they might be, and go from there.
Did you make any changes this week? After seeing the first couple of weeks of the season, do you make any changes to try and, rattle the team, spark them?
Maybe.
Would you share those changes?
Probably not.
Doug Peterson is morphing into Mike McDaniel a little bit. Yeah, I think he really is. More from the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence is excited to try to turn this 0-3 start around. He's excited.
Getting to a really good place where you've got it rolling. How much do you if at all, use that experience to sort of maybe help you dig yourself out of what's going on now?
Definitely use all the past experience. I think that's one thing that's good from having the experience in this league is you've seen a lot. Seasons are always different, how they unfold, how these games go early and down the stretch. So I feel like this, not just myself, this group, for the majority of us, we've played together, for a few years now. So we've been through a lot, and I think it will help us. But we got to use it, and we got to move forward. And it's a long season. And I don't say that to say that we have time to waste, because we surely don't anymore. But saying that is, it is a long season, and we've been in a worse spot than this before, and we found a way out of it. And I got full faith we're gonna do the same. But we gotta go prove it. So excited for that opportunity.
All right, it's going to be really interesting. You will see what kind of emotion. I'm not worried about Trevor Lawrence. I worry about him trying to play. I don't worry about his attitude or all that stuff, or they're not tanking for their coach or anything. I don't see that. But I'm wondering about the rest of the team, because it ain't working in Jacksonville. It just is not working. That team should not be 0-3. I know they're a couple of plays away from being 2-1 at least, but that's the NFL. You got to make plays. It started off with Etienne fumbling through the end zone, a really horrible play after the Dolphins had after Jacksonville had a double-digit lead on Miami in the opening game, and it just kind of set the tone the rest of the way. They just haven't been the same since. Meanwhile, the Patriots are on the road, 10.5-point underdogs, biggest spread of the week in the NFL. And like I said, anybody in the NFL this year, underdogs over 7.5, they have done really well, I got to tell you. At least covering. Meanwhile, Patriots are at San Fran, 4:05 on Sunday. Jacoby Brissett on the 49ers defense.
I mean, it's talent all around the field. A group that has been in this together, not alone in this system, but together for a long time. A lot of good players, a lot of good. The system is, they play it well. They run fast. They get to the ball. They got, all Pro Bowl players at all three levels of the defense. And they know it. They play with, I guess the confidence about themselves that, that it's not a play on the field that they can't make, which to their credit is somewhat true, But, a lot of team speed, a lot of physical play. So it's going to definitely be a hard-hat game for sure for us.
All right, that is Jacoby Brissett, the Patriots quarterback. Meanwhile, Gerard Mayo on another quarterback, Drake May.
To follow up on Nicole's question a little bit earlier, is your willingness to stick with the quarterback or the way you have it right now, how much of that is due to what you've seen from Drake in practice? How has he looked in practice?
He's looked good in practice. But once again, it's just practice. And you want to get a guy like that, obviously, on the football field. But at this current time, I don't want to go back to that answer, but at this current time, we're just not looking to add any pieces at that spot.
Still 70-30 practice-wise, Chris?
Yeah, still the same.
All right. Well, like I said, and we talked to Christopher Price this week with the Boston Globe, who's a beat reporter for the Patriots for the Globe, one of them. And look, I understand the offensive line. You want to keep Drake May out because you think he's going to get clobbered. I understand that. I also believe that there are plays that he can make that I know he can make that Jacoby Brissett cannot make, and at least keep them in games. I get both sides of it. But I can't, if they start off crappy on Sunday again, and Jacoby Brissett, cannot move the ball, roll the dice. You got to take your chances. I mean, you're going to have to play at some point. Can't keep going through this nonsense where they have such a hard time. If they're not capable of running the football, they got to play. And I'm not saying they won't be able to do this weekend, because what happened to what the Rams did to them last week is unbelievable. After the 49ers were up 14-0 and then blew it. Couple double-digit leads in that game. But nevertheless, the Patriots' offense, it is what it is. It's not very good. I'm more concerned about the defense. They have to tighten up from last week, because you can't be, they had Rodgers 2nd and 17, next play first down, 3rd and 8, next play first down. 10 of 15, the Jets went on a week ago yesterday, went on 3rd down. That cannot happen. Brandon Ayuk, remember him? Thought he might be a Patriot, thought he might be a Steeler, might be there, here, there. The other thing, Brandon Ayuk believes opposing Ds are playing him differently. Okay.
Is the team's defense is playing you any different this season through 3 games?
A little bit different. a little bit different. They just know what we want to do, what we like to do, me and Purdy especially. So just, yeah.
How do you work
Working
through that?
Practice today, trying to get in different spots, getting different looks. Working through that today.
Does that open things up for other guys, you think?
I think we all open stuff up for each other depending on where we're at on certain plays. So, yeah.
I'm glad the Patriots didn't get him. Meanwhile, San Francisco has Fred Warner on the rolls. He and Nick Bosa play as leaders on D.
What in this team makes you have that confidence for this team this season that you guys can turn it around?
Yeah, same thing. There's still a lot of the same guys from previous years. Me and Bosa being two of them. I feel like we're a big part of what we do. It's our job as leaders of not only the defense but of the team to make sure that things are running right, and if they're not, then we got to correct it.
All right, meanwhile, San Francisco head coach Kyle Shanahan evaluates the 49ers defense.
Is there something structurally that's going wrong here, or how do you circle what's been happening on
They stink.
I think all three levels have had an issue at times. I think that we played good at times too. I didn't say a lot of guys are getting deep on us. Both of them. It's been twice in 3 games, which were big ones. But when you have the PIs, those are too big of penalties too. But 2 guys have gone by our defense. One just caught us sleeping a little bit, and the other one, I think, was basically yelling 500 and bombing it, and had him in double coverage, and the guy made a hell of a play. But nothing structurally wrong with that, but 2 plays that you would love to have back. But I just think, we've had some new guys in there. We've had moments where we've been strong, but we're not playing up to how we usually do, and we got to make sure to get back to playing that way.
All right, that's Kyle Shanahan. Meanwhile, more about some awkward moments earlier this week in San Fran, about some questions. Not again. I don't know why it said that. It has jammed on me a couple of times today. This is a funny one. Oh, I know why. No, I'm an idiot. I'm hitting the wrong button on the wrong laptop, so that's on me. Anyway, I get a little confused. Here's more. Kyle Shanahan laughs after an awkwardly phrased question.
Is there enough time in the day for you and the offense to go through all the scenarios on any given play? Not only what their defense, what to do against a particular defense, but what to do if there is a bust and how they bust it?
That makes no sense. I'm sorry. You don't go through when people mess up what to do. That's off schedule is what people call it. And when it happens, you hope people see it. But you don't sit there and make up stuff all week and go through it. Hey, if I make this up, I want to prepare you for what you need to make up at the time. So that would be something that no one would ever would do. But
you did mention that I did the right thing.
Yeah.
On the busting coverage. So, you have general rules in place for that kind of stuff?
Yeah, when no one's there, like just if they had 10 people on the field and no one lined up over the receiver, we don't want him to just sit there and run a slant. I hope he puts his hand up and runs the go route so he walks into the end zone, and I hope the quarterback's looking that way and sees it. And be the same thing. When a corner's supposed to play deep half and he sits at the line of scrimmage and they have 2 people and you're going to run your route and no one's there, you look up and do the same thing. But that's something that happens in football a lot, happens throughout the games, and that was a big one because it happened at the end, but we just didn't fall into it the right way.
I was trying to do the Leonard Nimoy raise one eyebrow like he used to do like Spock. I can't do it. Can you guys do that? I can't raise one eye. I mean, if I wink, I can do it. Anyway, Kyle Shanahan, but that's a puzzling. I don't know. It sounds to me like the question was about situational football, and he turned it into something that was awkward. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Finally, before we go to break, Nick Bosa admits he's had trouble sleeping this week.
When you have a tough loss like that, how eager are you to get back on the field Sunday and get back in the little column and kind of right the ship?
Yeah, it's been tough to sleep the past couple nights. Just mind racing. So yeah, always this time of year I'm itching to get to Sunday, but after that it's like major.
Bummer, dude. Real bummer. Hey, pass that over. All right, meanwhile, quick break here. The Pete Sheppard Show. I think Angel Martinez, if he's awake, and he doesn't have to be, but if he is, he might be joining me next hour as well. More NFL preview sound, the Red Sox report, which will preview a little bit of the Tampa Bay and run down some of the sound from last night, particularly the last game at the Coliseum in Oakland, which yesterday afternoon, they ended up beating Texas 3-2. We'll have that. Jerry Thornton at 8:30. Boy, we got some stuff to talk about with him at Barstool Sports, and a big proposal by El Prez to the University of Michigan, and I believe it's pretty legal. We'll see if they take him up on the offer. Kind of scary. We'll have that. Gabe Morency, I'll have my Pigskin Picks at the 9 o'clock hour. Then Gabe Morency will have his and close out the show at 9:30. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show. Hour number 2 is next on this Freaky Football Friday on the Coastal Sports Network.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Phil Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Mass. is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Don't miss the return of the legend, former Bruins goalie Tim Thomas. Tim will be at Sports World on Saturday, October 5th from noon until 2 p.m. Tim will be signing and taking photos. Prices vary, so don't miss this awesome event. Saturday, October 5th at Sports World, 184 Broadway in Saugus, Massachusetts. Call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there.
The Pete Sheppard Show. It's fun for the whole family. If it's dysfunctional.
Yeah, the only guy in the league with 7 Super Bowl, well, not in the league, but like former player, one of the greatest for the best ever in the game. 7 Super Bowls, for him to give me a nickname, the eraser, and how he judged my game is just dope. It's dope for me to hear.
Back here in the Pete Sheppard Show, that indeed was Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson talking about Tom Brady giving him the nickname, the Eraser, from the Baltimore Ravens website. Actually, it's probably not a really an appropriate song, clapping along how you feel with like a home without a roof, and some of that down here. So some houses floating down the street up in the Tampa area and Cedar Key. So maybe that's not the appropriate lyric that is to be playing at this time. Anyway, hopefully everybody's okay. Angel Martinez will try to join me whenever he gets, so I'm not bothering him. He got like no sleep last night, so we will see. Welcome back. It's hour number 2 of the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out here on Twitter X, following me at PShep326. They're still having issues on Facebook. It is not on our end, so I apologize for that. Still can't get us on Facebook. That is something has to do with Facebook. CSN Florida, SR1029, thegame.com, Ion TV, Rumble, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube. You can call or text at 727-858-6650. And just like that, there he is, Angel Martinez. Good morning, Angel. You didn't have to come on. Good morning. How are you doing? How are you and Debbie doing? Are you safe up there in Tampa? I can't even imagine what you've gone through the last 12 hours. Like I said, down here, overall, extremely lucky where I live, and you know where I live in this part of Fort Myers, but all around me, Fort Myers Beach over there, downtown Fort Myers over there, still underwater, still flooded. Do not approach those areas, but still nothing like I'm sure what happened. It was a Cat 4 when it was right outside of Tampa. I said earlier at the Big Bend, they've never seen a Cat 4 hit that part of Florida before, ever. Cedar Key and up north to the Panhandle, 15 to 20-foot surges. But first and foremost, Angel, good morning. How are you and Deb doing?
Good morning, Pete. We're, thank God, we're good. As the football players like to say, I like to thank my Lord Jesus Christ. Make sure everything is good, which, you hear a lot of that stuff as far as he goof around, but thankfully, because he definitely looked out. In our community, it seems like there's a lot of just tree limbs and stuff that are down, so people are kind of going outside and helping each other out. I always look out for my neighbors because obviously they're seniors, and I want to make sure that they're fine. So they're good.
Did you lose power? Did you lose power?
So we lost it twice. First time it flickered off. Second time did the same thing. It ended up coming back, which the flickering part is the worst of it because when it comes immediately back, it sends a surge back to your appliances and everything else, which is never a good thing. But
it sucks resetting the microwave clock, doesn't it? Or the stove clock. It really does.
Yeah, it's so stupid because it'll blink at you just to tease the crap out of you. But yeah, there's a lot of flooding. There's a lot of damage. Cedar Key is basically underwater.
Yeah.
Hudson Beach, where I ended up taking the video from the other day, that is completely underwater. So everybody who
Where
loves,
Jim Cantor was standing, where you took the video, that dock is underwater.
yeah, that's all completely underwater. And there's a hotel that's right across the street from Sam's Beach Bar, which Sam's himself, I mean, the water is up to the roof line of Sam's. And
Wow.
and Sam's just had, I want to say less than a year ago, had just invested a bunch of money to replenish the restaurant and made it look really nice decking, the whole 9 yards. But I don't think people understood when they were saying this, these surges and how big they were going to end up being. It was monstrous. I can't tell you that the freak out version, but trying to stay calm at the same time, because once the winds start coming in, you can start feeling the impact of the Cat 4. It felt like the worst turbulence you've ever gone in the air in an airplane, but on the ground is what it was feeling like for the most part. And I think it finally cleared out about maybe 2:30-ish in the morning.
Yeah. The only good part about the storm, and there's no good about it, but it was how fast it was. I've never seen a hurricane, at least down this part, in the 8 years been down here. I've never seen a hurricane zip through that quickly. I mean, it left an enormous damage, obviously. Thank God. If that thing ever lingered around like Ian did a couple of years ago, oh my Lord, I can't even imagine. So it's horrible right now. And I can continue. It's just amazing what everybody's been going through.
Yeah, Crystal River took a huge punch. Now we're only from where we are. We might be about 15, 16 feet above the sea level. So it's not like we're way up there. But down on the other side, of course, of 19 basically from St. Pete all the way up through Citrus County and beyond up there by Cedar Key and all, everything to the left of 19 pretty much just got, waterlogged, everything. And then you look at Crystal River, where Crystal River's got like nice little shops in between, and then where 98 and 19 meet in 41, there's like a Dunkin' Donuts up there. There's a Wawa, all that stuff. It's just the water just came from, and you figure from that point over to the river is about a mile, and that's all inundated with water.
Wow.
So there's a lot of places that are going to be, it's going to take a couple of days not only for the water to recede, but then for them to be able to go in there, assess damage. There was over at least 100 calls here locally in the area. Tampa had 150. Pasco, I believe they said they had about close to 200 from people just hanging their homes. Hernando, they said it had about another 150 from people just saying that the water was coming into their house, and that was the priority.
How close are you? After we got off yesterday, I saw some disturbing videos. One, I don't know why the hell it took so long for them to close the Skyway Bridge. I saw some videos. It was only after a couple of people tweeted out, like, what the fuck are they doing? The Skyway Bridge was about an hour into flooding. It was frightening going what I was watching cars through cameras. And then about 15 minutes after I was watching, finally I got the sense to shut it down. I couldn't believe the amount of cars that were being allowed to go over, I think one of the most beautiful, but during this time, one of the most dangerous bridges. So I want you thought about that. And then I saw, I don't know how close you are in Tampa to Bayshore Boulevard. That thing was totally underwater.
Yeah. And then you had dummies, which makes even no sense whatsoever. You have dopes that go out there. It's different if you're looking at something the same way like we mentioned about the people down in Key West, but these ding-dongs are out there on, one guy had a boat out there. Another guy, they were on a raft, which looked like basically a pool. And they were in it with a plastic bag like over their head, riding like they thought it was going to be waves. And here, the cops aren't going to do anything because they got bigger priorities. But you have people who were completely dumb hanging out there on Bayshore Boulevard, getting themselves into trouble. And no matter how much they say, the electric and water are a great conductor. They love each other. It's like a porcelain plate, the same way to a piece of electric. It absolutely loves it. But there was a lot of dumb people, and probably more.
Well, as Michael Kay said yesterday, mouth-breathing lowlifes, and that's what you are. And you should have seen the idiots in Fort Myers Beach riding waves, boogie boards, and everything else. Not to mention, it's still dangerous. The riptide. God only knows what the hell is in that stuff right there. And then you got the snakes and the gators to worry about. And I'm talking about the gators even in the ocean around here in Fort Myers Beach and in the roads, gator and in parts of Naples and downtown Fort Myers. There are gators that have been swimming down the street and they've been displaced. And I'm sure it's the same thing in Tampa. You can't go walking around with boots in knee-deep, waist-deep water. First of all, it's disgusting. It's contaminated. And second of all, there's a whole bunch of creatures around that have been displaced.
Yeah. No, so you have that. You have they've already said there's parts of Tampa where we can't flush the water for the next 24 or 48 hours because it has shut down the treatment plants because of how the water was coming in and then seeping into the treatment plants. They got to make sure that's fine. So you can't shower, you can't flush the toilet, and something else too for like the next 24 or 48 hours. Bradenton is the same way. St. Pete was the same thing. St. Pete, I think that alert came through right about midnight when they said they had shut everything down there. So for the mayor down there, St. Pete is going to be his biggest challenge since becoming mayor. But there's Citrus County is the same way too. There's a lot of areas where you can't flush or run the water because of how everything gets seeped into the treatment plants. Everybody
houses moving. I saw houses up your way and to Cedar Key. I mean, just washed away, floating down the street. The mayor of Fort Myers Beach down here, Dan Allers, he is just don't stay home. Do not come and take pictures or videos. They're going to be, and I'm sure it's like this in Tampa too, as well. There's going to be tons of equipment out there trying to alleviate all this debris and sand and everything else. So everybody stay home. I know everybody wants to get their fame and get pictures and videos and send them to the local TV stations, but I think most of the mayors are telling people in these areas just stay put. How's the flooding in your neighborhood, or if there is any?
We're kind of fortunate around here like I said, I haven't taken a ride yet, nor do I want to at this point, just because I want everybody else to have their to go out there and assess situations. But around here, I don't see it. We have right down the street from us at the end of our block. It's like a natural made pond where a lot of the reclaimed water goes into. I saw the water mostly in there, so it's a good thing it didn't spin out, but I'm pretty sure the houses that were directly on there probably got inundated with water. But it's been, so far it's been good where I live, but my dad, I have to check up on him to make sure he's fine. He's up in Hernando County, so I got to make sure he's okay.
He's got a cell phone, right? You can text him?
Well, if I text my dad, he erases his phone. He's not good with texting. Yeah, there's times when you call him and he'll erase everything, and then he'll give me a call whenever he figures out what my number is, and it says, "Hey, guess what I did?" So yeah, he's okay. He'll receive them, but he can't open them because if he opens them, I don't know what that man does, but he erases everything on his phone.
Jesus. Oh man, and your mom's good down here. I know she lives not too far from me.
Yeah, mom's good. She's if anything, the only thing she would have by her house are freaking Jaguars, because where she lives, she's right in the sticks. Yeah, she's in the sticks there. So she's good. It was just, it's one of those nights that once it went up to Cat 4, you freaking knew it. It was coming. And like I said, the relentless winds, once they started, and there's nothing you can do. I mean, you can't hold up the walls of your own home. You can't hold up the windows. The only thing I'm kind of surprised in the state of Florida is that when, I forgot what it was, what year, maybe after like 1986, where you had to have like certain type of windows. But I'm surprised that when the newer developments go in, that they don't automatically put in like, Hurricane 2 type windows. So in case there's flying debris, but it's amazing to me, but it's just going to be.
We got that. Peanut Gallery, we upgraded our sliding glass doors and windows. And not only are they incredibly soundproof on the whole for most of the house, but they're hurricane proof. So they are, it would take a incredibly strong storm to bust through the sliding glass doors on the lanai and our windows as well. But, it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. No question about it. You brought up, the winds and everything else. Yesterday, we were talking about the Weather Channel, and Matt Devitt down here on WIC News, he is one of the best. I think one of the best in the country. I think all the local TV meteorologists up from Tampa down to here are phenomenal. They do a great job. But I really trust Matt Devitt on WIC News down here because he has a way. unlike the Weather Channel, of keeping things calm, cool, and collected. He came on the air yesterday afternoon, and I remember because I was flipping through yesterday off the show. I was on local news and Weather Channel, flipping back and forth. And sure enough, somebody, and I can't remember who it was, and I don't think it wasn't Jim, it was somebody else, talked about how one of the noodles or something was headed right at Tampa, and everybody sort of panicked. And Matt Devitt came on not too long after that and said, look, regardless of what you might have heard, do not panic if you're going in the Tampa area. It is staying to the west of us. It's 160 miles offshore. Yes, Tampa's going to get hit, but it is not going to be a direct hit. So don't go by. He goes, as we reported, he broke everything down. It was so succinct and unbelievable. And, you got people on the Weather Channel who don't know that Matt Lachey is not Malacha, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So, but the Weather Channel struck again as far as causing a panic, unnecessarily, at least for a little while. I know it affected some people in Tampa.
Yeah, you had here Paul Delgado with Fox 13. He came on, I think it was, I want to say maybe 7:30-ish. And he had said the same thing too. A bunch of people were reaching out to him via Twitter and stuff and saying that, hey, we heard that this thing is making a hard right and going to Tampa. But he was explaining like this thing had a track and it was going up that track because of this time of year. It's the winds carry it now on a certain track and it will not deviate that. He said the only reason why Charlie made the hard right because it was during the summer months where the winds don't affect it and it can go either left or right or sideways or anything else. But yeah, there was, it was. I don't know why people, and I swear it's to instill fear in folks. And anybody who would end up believing anything like that, I mean, if Fox 13 has been, I will say since I've been down here, pretty daggone good as far as making a prediction.
Absolutely. Yeah. Stick with the locals. Stick with your local meteorologists. Don't watch the Weather Channel. Don't.
Yep. The only one that I would say where they, and because no one knew was, what was it, 2 years ago down there by your house, by Fort Myers, where it didn't make the hard right. And
it lingered. That's the thing. It lingered, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Which I believe tomorrow is the 2-year anniversary, I believe, of that storm, if I'm not mistaken, that hurricane.
Yeah. But that was the only one that I can think of to, all of a sudden just, it turned where it wasn't supposed to. But yeah, up at the Big Bend, I mean, you figured by the time it hit land, it was at 140 miles an hour. And then even getting up to Valdosta, it was still at a category 2 until it finally got up towards Atlanta, where it finally decided, to kind of turn into the tropical depression. But it's the Big Bend area. They're still reeling from the last 2, and it's been devastating for them. Even Perry, Florida, it's a very small town. Mm-hmm. They got directly hit by the eye coming in through their town, and it was nuts. I hope that's the only one for the season because we don't need another one behind this one after all the cleanup and everything else that we're going to have to dig out of. But I feel bad for the folks that decided that, those surges, they keep talking about it all the time. Nothing happens. And then they're calling because they're on top of their roof trying to get rescued as their house is just inundated with nothing but water. So wind and water are never good friends, ever.
All right, let me just get this out of the way. The Red Sox report brought to you by Moynihan Lumber. Check out their complete line of Anderson windows and doors at any of their 3 locations in Beverly and North Reading, Massachusetts, and Plastow, New Hampshire. Basically, the Red Sox close out their season beginning tonight at Fenway against the Tampa Bay Rays. On the mound tonight will be Nick Pivetta, who's 6-11 on the year with a 4.21 ERA, and the Rays are going to go with Taj Bradley. He's 7-11 with a 4.3 ERA. So the Red Sox and Rays close out their series tonight. Both teams are going to miss the playoffs. So there's your Red Sox report. Brought to you by Moynihan Lumber. Check out their complete line of Anderson windows and doors at any of their 3 locations in Beverly and North Reading, Mass, Plastow, New Hampshire. Angel, if I could, on my Twitter page, it is not, let's see, it is just third video down. I believe Florida man Matthew Heller is filling him. This is what happened. I believe in the Tampa area or Cedar Key area. He's in his living room on a kayak. You see it? It's on a Colin rug. This is the third video down.
Hang on. I'm going to bring it up.
Yep. And just check this out. This is absolutely unbelievable. When you see this guy, Matthew Heller, filming himself in his kayak in his own living room.
By the way, a lot of there's going to be just like the last storm that we had around here. Someone had put out there was a gator floating around the middle of their house. There's going to be a lot of bogus.
Well, I said that they've been displaced. They're all over the place. So just you got to be wary of that, and snakes and everything else. All right, here it is. This is a Matthew.
But at least I'm not electrocuting myself anymore. We have we got the chlorine going, so try to disinfect some of this nastiness. That's good. Florida man doing Florida things. By the way, please visit hornblasters.com. I'm located here in Tampa, Florida. Bro, get out. What are you doing? Yeah, I got the chlorine going, so it's good. We don't take anything serious. We're Florida, man. What am I going to do? I just checked the weather in between my lives, and it looks like at 2 a.m. the water might start going down. But in the meantime, it's going up. The foundation of the house, like all this water is bubbling underneath the foundation. So that's not good. I think that's like how sinkholes happen. The water is smashing up against the window. When I open it, it gets really choppy in here. It's still coming in through the garage. I'm getting annihilated by mosquitoes already. But, go live on TikTok, because oh, damn, my light's out there floating around. Whoopsie. Oh, so if that light is floating around, that means the cactus is done for. Man, all those switches, all my light switches are going to get wet. You can see them right now. I got like the smart light switches. And we're going to have to replace all those. That's a bummer. Oh, well, it's a bummer. My buddy Shane, his house got wiped out too, I heard. So that sucks. By the way,
first of all, I don't know how he has power. Second of all, I don't know how he's not getting electrocuted. He's got lights on that fall in the ocean. I don't know what that thing was splashing around over there. Was that a gate? I don't know what that was. In the beginning of the video, he's like, hey, calm down. He says he opens his door. When did he put the kayak in the living room? I mean, did he just plan for that? And why is he still there?
That's a big thing. And because as he said, he stopped getting electrocuted. It's because the water now becomes a great conductor with electricity. So it means he probably opened up the water or opened up the doors to the garage, got the kayak, and figured out I'll float around my living room until the stuff ends up coming down. I mean, it's just.
That's in Tampa. That's in Tampa where you are, and there's other places that were worse. I mean, but this is a guy who's kayaking in his living room. Oh my God!
So Tampa off of Gandy Boulevard, there's a brand new development, a bunch of brand new development, not just one, but that's probably the lowest lying area, and that's probably where he is nearby Gandy. Where you can take a broom and sweep the water from the rivers and from the Gulf and put it right in your backyard because it's that low lying. Thankfully, my I guess we would consider my nephew-in-law because it's Debbie's nephew. Thankfully, he moved out of the area. If he would have remained in the same house where he was, his house would have been underwater. So thankfully, they moved up to a better area by New Tampa where it's a little bit higher as far as the elevation. But there's tons of people. And why go live on TikTok? To what? To get comments? It's just a lot of the stuff is just it's so daggone dumb. Honest to God.
All right, Angel, we're going to take a quick break because Jerry Thorne from Barstool Sports is going to join us coming up short. And if we could, before he comes on, not now, right after the break, if you scroll down, David Portnoy has, from Barstool Sports, it's under J.J. McCarthy fan, has an interesting proposition for the University of Michigan, which we'll tell you about when we come back. I know Jerry's going to comment it on as well. That's it. We'll play that when we come back, right before Jerry comes on or when Jerry comes on, because I want him to comment on this. It's a huge thing. We'll tell you about it next as the Pete Sheppard Show continues here on a Friday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jimmy the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our 2nd location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
Phil Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Mass. is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Don't miss the return of the legend, former Bruins goalie Tim Thomas. Tim will be at Sports World on Saturday, October 5th from noon until 2 p.m. Tim will be signing and taking photos. Prices vary, so don't miss this awesome event. Saturday, October 5th at Sports World, 184 Broadway in Saugus, Massachusetts. Call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You want the best in sports and entertainment? You got it. Now back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
Welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show. It's a football Friday. Hope everybody is well and as safe as you can be. And if you cannot, Jerry, I still can't see it. Jerry Thornton from Barstool Sports is about to join the program. He's going to try to beam in, but apparently Scotty in engineering is having trouble. But we'll see if we can correct that as well as we start to recover here in Southwest Florida and down here in the Fort Myers Beach area. And downtown Fort Myers is still real bad, so don't head over that way. Where I am in Fort Myers, I'm okay. Where Angel is an absolute disaster up in Tampa, and the Big Bend just got absolutely creamed yesterday and early this morning as well, with storm surge up to 15 to 20 feet. Jerry, are you there? I can hear you rumbling around. Are you there? Is there a pill you can take?
Yeah, but I'm gonna try diet and exercise and thinking pure thought. So I apologize, but really, anyone who's watching this broadcast benefits from me not being on camera. Trust me.
No, it does not. All right, I'm going to play. Before I want you to comment, before we get into Jerry Thornton from Barstool Sports. Yesterday, interesting, your boss, Dave Portnoy, El Prez, had this to say on his show, on your network.
Michigan, I will be the quarterback guy. You just say, Dave, you go. I'll talk to Sharon. Who do you guys want? Who's in there? Give me a group. I'll go get them. I will sign them $1 million, $2 million, whatever it is.
What's the top?
$3 million.
What if I mean, are some of them going for more? Wasn't the
I don't
Nico
know.
kid like
Fine, but I can get a quarterback. We don't have a quarterback. If I don't get
You can
the
get
number
somebody
one
for 3 though. You can be in the stratosphere.
Yeah, but you don't want to. I'm wondering, like, is Dave? How are you running this? I want to get a quarterback, or I'm like George Steinbrenner. I will spend any amount of dollars.
No, I'm gonna get us a top 10 quarterback in the portal coming out every year.
Okay, that's
top
good.
10
That's
quarterback.
great. I mean,
freshman
wow.
Okay, I'm interested.
And
in
he's going to do it too.
And then
your thoughts on your boss.
And then, well, here's
you know what, I'm in.
We
well,
can stop that, Angel.
Here's
Jerry. Your thoughts on all of that? And I'm not surprised.
Oh yeah, several things. One, this kind of thing went on for generations, right? Remember what a scandal it was that there was a guy, I forget his first name, but I believe his last name was Shapiro. He went to like jail for throwing money around for the Miami Hurricanes.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
he used to run out of the tunnel. He used to run out of the tunnel with them.
Exactly. And it was considered scandalous. And how dare he do this? Players are actually getting money for this. This is an outrage. This is what college sports are not supposed to be all about. Meanwhile, everybody else, everyone in a suit and tie was taking in, millions of dollars, just raking it in. And the players were the ones who were like, scandalized because they were taking money. So thank you to the world for realizing the hypocrisy of this and finally making it so that a booster can just simply make payments to the players, because everyone else, the advertisers, the sponsors, the stadiums, they're selling beers for $12, but the players couldn't get anything. It was ridiculous. So one, I think that's great. Two, more power to Dave for having $3 million to give so that he can have some satisfaction on a Saturday. And I just want to declare, as a Notre Dame fan, team that also needs some help, I have $50 to any quarterback out there who wants to come play for Notre Dame. 5-0. Big grant right here is yours. All you have to do is come and win us a national championship. Now, tell me what your thoughts of this are, because I think it's fantastic.
Oh, well, I do too. And, I don't know how much my Hurricanes gave Cam Ward, but it wasn't enough because he's arguably the best quarterback in the country right now. Your boys are going to lose to Louisville on tomorrow, so get ready for that. I hate Notre Dame. I respect them, but I really despise them. And the funny thing, growing up as a Hurricane fan, my dad was a huge Notre Dame fan, huge after BC. So the first person to call my answering machine back in the day, when I was moved out of the house, anytime Notre Dame won, was my dad. He would just go da 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 da. He wouldn't say anything. The phone would click on da 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 da, and I'd swear at the phone.
I can say this, the relationship in Notre Dame is complicated. And I get they make themselves a big, slow moving target, like being very much invested in their high ideals and that, we're better than people because we don't let guys skate academically and whatever. And okay, that was cute when you were winning championships, but it's been since Lou Holtz. And the couple of times that they've gotten close, they didn't just lose, they got devastated. So, it's time to put up, unless you really just want to become Boston College. You just say, hey, look at our great student athletes, but yeah, we just don't win anything. And you can tell your dad this one from me, Pete.
Well, I can't tell him anymore. He's passed, but I know what you
mean.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Yeah. No, it's what do a Notre Dame student and a BC student have in common? What? They both had BC as their safety school. Boston College guys hate that.
I meet around all the time, and I asked him yesterday, about Billy O'Brien saying we're not, giving out $100,000. What happened with UNLV with what's his name, the Holy Cross transfer. I mean, if you think about a quarterback of that stature, Matthew Sluka. And then Michael Allen, the running back, defected as well. Are going to redshirt and they're going to transfer. But if a Holy Cross kid can get $100,000 from a group of 5 school out in UNLV, $100,000, yeah, somebody playing on the Power 5 at a blue blood university like Michigan, of course they're worth $1 million plus.
Right? Yeah, exactly. This is
money for some of these people.
Right. Kids in AAU make money. And again, why not?
Yeah,
Every one
why
of these
not?
things, every sport that you can think of is backed by sponsor dollars. And the fact that, for instance, this always drove me up a wall. The NCAA would sell Florida jerseys with Tim Tebow's name on the back, and everyone got a cut except Tim Tebow. And we just
I know.
accepted that. This is how it should be because of education, or it's keeping amateurishness alive and the principles of student athletics. And the people saying this always were like sleeping on a pile of gold, like Smaug the dragon.
By the way, what do you think? Have you been watching on Amazon the season 2 of The Lord of the Rings?
No, I lean so heavily into my hatred of that show. I tried watching the first episode. I just find it amateurish. Like, okay, maybe it's just because I'm such a huge J.R.R. Tolkien fan, and I read the books when I was in middle school. They imprinted on me in the way that no other work of fiction ever could. And
Agreed.
I respect deeply the job that Peter Jackson did. It was incredible.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, to the point where I don't even watch the regular Lord of the Rings. I only watch the extended edition because 9.5 hours was not enough, to enjoy it. And then I just see it now in the hands of people who don't understand it, who don't have Tolkien's flair for language. He was the linguist first and foremost. Yeah. It doesn't have the moral underpinnings. The characters aren't as rich. And I'm sorry to everyone who loves the show, but just take Galadriel alone, who's the main character in this. In the movies, in the books, she's this ethereal, mysterious, all-wise,
angelic,
this entity, and now she's this girl who has one mood, and her only expression is like how Draco Malfoy talked in Harry Potter. I have a tempest in my heart. The sea doesn't lie. It's like, oh, who is this? Who created this? Who thought this was?
You know what, Jerry, though? I totally agree with you, except once I got once things started to develop, you started to get to know the characters a little bit. And I think it got better. I think it got a lot better. And when they start getting into why the rings were formed and all that stuff, and then it gets really into the dwarf characters and their alliance with the elves and everything else, and how it got pretty interesting to me. I watched episode 7 of season 2 yesterday after the show. I think that's going to be the last one for season 2 because I think there were only 7 or 8 in season 1. But I'm glad I did. I was with you. I was very skeptical about it because I feel the same way about J.R. Tolkien as you do. But it ended up being, I thought, pretty good. You might change your mind a little bit if you keep watching it. That's the best I can tell you.
Okay. When they introduced Tom Bombadil, who admittedly is such a difficult character to wrap your brain around, in the book, he just dances around and sings all the time, and he's all just about nature and the trees and the forest, and I existed before the skies and whatever. It's so much so that Peter Jackson just said, we can't do anything with this character. He doesn't move the plot forward. And now they have him, just kind of a guy who was...
Who was the other wizard in The Hobbit that was kind of like that? The one that was
Radagast the Brown. I shouldn't know that.
Because I thought originally Bobomil was him, and I said, no, that's not. Then I remembered, like you said in the book, I'm like, that's not the same guy. And we're still trying to find out. I think the mysterious guy who doesn't have a name is Gandalf, and he wasn't even in the last episode at all. So I think that's Gandalf, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and listen, TV is doing some really good adaptations over the last few years. Like, I think the golden era of TV is still going on. Maybe it's not like it was when you had the Sopranos, and then that became like Game of Thrones and Succession or whatever. Breaking Bad, certainly. But I loved Shogun. I watched the 70s version.
Yeah, Richard Chamberlain.
Yeah, exactly. Richard Chamberlain, who was the romantic lead in basically every miniseries of the time.
And nobody
And,
knew he was gay.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that there's anything
He hid
wrong with
that.
that. I'm not saying, I'm
No,
just saying
no, but
nobody knew he was gay.
can imagine what it would have
Like
meant to
Rock
all those
Hudson.
women who, like, their hearts, like, skipped a beat every time he came on screen, but he was not interested in them. But they did a really good adaptation this time around. It's like this immersive world, like if you watch it for a while, you really find yourself almost starting to understand the Japanese that they're speaking or whatever, and high production values. And again, they spent $1 billion on Rings of Power. And I watch and I go, where did the money go to? Like, what were they spending it on the catering? Because like, this just looks like they're in front of a green screen.
Jerry Thornton here from Barstool Sports. There's a couple of really good documentary series out there on Amazon right now about there's one of the guys who was drawing for Peter Jackson. They're both series are like 29 minutes long. There's like 3 or 4 episodes in each one. He goes back to New Zealand, to Hobbiton, and describes what he went through and everything else. Now, I thought some of the scenery was destroyed, but there was a lot at least still there. And this documentary came out, I think, last year. But it's some cool stuff. I think you'd like it. It's really delves into what they went through and everything else.
Oh, I will definitely check it out. I was not aware of this.
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
I would look. I have a relative who took a trip to New Zealand and went on a Lord of the Rings tour. I would so do that.
Oh.
And, when you watch the making of the original trilogy, the time and effort that went into the details, like they started designing like swords and helmets like 2 years in advance.
Yes.
Right?
And then they filmed all 3 movies both times at once. People don't realize that.
Yeah, and then you watch how they did The Hobbit, which is a good story, but it's a kid's story. It's about a 300-page book. Yeah. They could have done a really kick-ass job making it a 2-hour movie, 2.5 tops. They watered it down, tried to get 3 movies out of it, added so much water to the Kool-Aid that it just tasted like nothing. And you watch the making of that, and they were literally like doing it on the fly to the point where, like, all right, what's this sword going to look like? We're almost done with it. All right, well, we're filming in a couple of minutes. And Peter Jackson just working 20-hour days, like writing the script on a legal pad, and then them having to shoot the scene the next day. And it was just a disaster.
But I loved the Battle of the 5 Armies, the third movie in the Lord of the Rings, and the Hobbit. I love that. I mean, Return of the King is my favorite, obviously, but I love the Battle of the 5 Armies. I love Bard, the smog, the dragon, the killing of that, especially in the beginning. Very emotional. Move to your left, son. And then
I thought the actors did a great job. Like Martin Freeman did his homework. He's pulling heavy duty, but there's just so much stuff that just needed to be just yanked out of there. Like, and like no peril. Like they're running through this, orc cave.
They're always running.
Yes, exactly.
I never understood how the dwarfs could run like they run. Actually, all of them. I mean, did they all train for the Boston and New York marathons? I mean, because the amount of running that happened in all 6 of those movies, I go, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, how do you train for that? And it's not just like flat; it's up mountains and through blizzards and down mountains and terrain that is rock full. I'm amazed at what great a shape all these people are in.
In the words of Gimli, dwarfs are natural sprinters. We're wasted over long distances.
Interesting, you might know this, but an interesting thing about J.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, of course, who was the author of all the Narnia Chronicles. And I don't know if I saw this in a documentary once. I may have told you or mentioned this before. C.S. Lewis was going to commit suicide. They were both in a book club in Oxford, or around, I believe they were both in a book club in Oxford. And they met that way. And C.S. Lewis, for whatever reason, had a massive amount of depression, didn't like his whatever, he was going to kill himself. And J.R. Tolkien, they became best friends and talked him out of it. And a lot of people don't realize that. And then, of course, he went on to great fame with the Chronicles of Narnia and J.R. Tolkien, of course. And Not to mention being in the war and everything, and writing a lot about what happened during the war and a lot of parallels to Lord of the Rings. But a lot of people don't realize that he basically saved C.S. Lewis's life.
Yes, and Lewis was a devout atheist.
Yes.
And it was their friendship, and they were just with friends. Their group, and I shouldn't know this either, but this is the nonsense that's in my
Yeah.
brain. They called themselves the Inklings.
Yes,
And they
yes,
used to
yes.
meet in a pub and
Yeah.
just sit there and debate like Norse myths and theology and philosophy or whatever. I don't know that there's a lot of that going on your average college campus right now. I don't think there's
but,
too many guys.
that's why when you look at the when I first read Chronicles of Narnia, and what had The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, I believe, is the third book in the series. So I got all 7 books. I believe there's 7 when I was a kid. Remember, it came in that. And they're not terribly long books, but Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the cartoon came out first. It was not bad. It used to be kind of fascinating, and then I thought the movie was fantastic the way they did it. But you think about him being an atheist, and what does he say in Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? What does he talk about? Are you a son of Adam? Are you a daughter of Eve? That's how they refer to men and women in Narnia. Son of Adam, daughter of Eve. Of course, Aslan, there's no question, parallel of Jesus. So there's no doubt about it. I mean, no question. And then he dies, and then he's resurrected on the tablet, and it comes back to life, and saves everybody. And it's just all about being good. So I mean, for somebody like C.S. Lewis, who was an atheist, and then to come up with, I think, a very religious parallel in the Narnia Chronicles is amazing, and a lot of that it had to do with J.R.R. Tolkien. Not that wants anybody to be a religious zealot, but I think he convinced him. In some way, shape, or form. I mean, you start talking about sons of Adams and daughters of Eve, and Aslan being really parallel to Jesus. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Oh yeah, and his works about Catholicism is some of the most influential of all time. Like, he became devout, and he's discussed an epiphany he had, but never went into detail about how it happened. He just essentially went on a walk one time and then came back, and it completely changed his entire view of the cosmos. And a real interesting fact about him is he lost his wife to, I believe it was cancer, but she was sick for a while. She died. He wrote a book under a pseudonym about grief, dealing with that and how he processed it all. And somebody he knew who felt really bad for him because he was just lost, this lost soul without his wife, recommended he read the book, not knowing that he had written it.
Amazing, isn't it?
Unbelievable. Yeah. And, I don't know, today we have, idiots like me writing books. So, if you believe in yourself, kids, you can achieve mediocrity in this world.
Which you should buy. I know we got on a tangent about Lord of the Rings, but I don't care. That's the beauty of doing my show. What am I going to talk about? How bad? I mean, are we going to talk about? Did you cry? The last out of the Oakland Memorial, the Coliseum closing down after the A's won 3-2, and they started playing. Did you see what they did? They play the Moneyball music in the background.
What a weird choice. You know what I mean? Like they had some of the great, not just great teams, but great eras and
characters of all time too.
Oh, absolutely!
They would fight in the dugout during games, and during the 3 championships they won in a row, 72 to 74. They would brawl all the time in between.
Right, they had teams that were so iconic. You can look back, and if you lived through that era, you can pretty much go through their batting order off the top of your head without looking it up. You look at some of the starting rotations that they had, not just in the 70s, for sure. We had Vita Blue and Catfish Hunter and then you had Raleigh Fingers as a closer. Fast forward to the late 80s and 90s, we had, like the incredible staff that they had there. Dave Stewart. And
Dave Stewart always beat Roger Clemens. I mean, it was brutal. Sometimes 2-0, sometimes 8-1. But every time Dave Stewart pitched against the Red Sox, whether it be the regular season or the playoffs, they usually lost.
Incredible. And then who was the back of that bullpen? Dennis Eckersley. Like, they built wagons, and it was back in a time when it didn't really matter if you were a small market or a big market or whatever. People turned out and supported those teams, even though the owner was broke most of the time or whatever. And they put together incredible legends. Who's your better third baseman. You had Carney Lansford, or you had oh crap, I'm flaking on the name, but you had the Bash brothers back before that became like a scandal. Joe Rudy, and it was unbelievable Gene Tennis behind the plate.
Gene Tennis behind the plate, yeah.
Yeah,
No, even early on, Reggie Jackson, who hit one of the greatest home runs in All-Star game history in Detroit that year. I think it was 73. He blasted one over the roof. People always remember Reggie as a Yankee. They don't remember him as an A.
Yeah, and I know everyone's blaming the owner, and he probably is just
he's a jackass. Fisher, he's a jackass.
Yeah, you hear the local sports reporters, and I advise you to look up some of the videos on YouTube. They're hilarious, just going on these long impassioned rants about just what a rapacious greedhead this guy is, or whatever. And apparently there's like tech moguls that are saying, I'll buy the team and I'll keep it here, but this guy just can make a better deal in Vegas. And I suppose if I'm living in Oakland, I'm saying, look, we've got bigger problems, but we've seen too many examples where a sports franchise, or what it can do to a region that's in kind of a existential crisis.
Eventually,
the Saints after Katrina, what that meant to people. The 2013 Red Sox after the marathon bombing. A sports team can be kind of that watering hole, the gathering place around which a community can come together in difficult times, which Oakland's going through, but they're not going to get that chance anymore.
When the smoke clears and Billy Beane maybe is sort of out of baseball, because he only does like 1 or 2 interviews a year. He doesn't talk to the press, as most of you know. But I would hope somebody pays him a lot of money to do either Netflix or Amazon or Hulu, some sort of a mini series or just like a 2-hour special with him and the thought process and what he has had to go through. Everybody knows the Moneyball scenario, and that really, I think he even did a better job even after that movie came out with some of the other teams that he had, but a lot of ex-Red Sox players are on those teams, and they always got so close but couldn't make it. But I would love to hear what he really thought, how he handled himself. And even now, I know when the shit really has hit the fan and even he can't do enough to bail them out, even though they played much better the second half of the season. But wouldn't you want to hear, Jerry, what he has to say about anything? And I hope someday that he opens up to everybody, because I think he's one of the most fascinating people in baseball. You just don't hear from him.
Yeah, I guess because he's always employed or whatever. But you see how even teams loaded with cash started to adopt some of his methods. I mean, the Red Sox certainly have tried to look at things from the way he did. Like the way he'd take what's an asset that a player can bring that doesn't cost a lot of money.
It's on base.
There you go, on base percentage, and then by extension OPS or whatever. And so the Sox started building. Remember how badly he wanted Kevin Youkilis?
Yeah,
he was a guy that would draw a lot of walks or whatever. So what happened? The Red Sox developed Youkilis. They didn't let him go to Oakland, and he became a mainstay of like multiple World Series.
Worst nickname ever, the Greek god of walks, except he wasn't Greek.
Yeah. I always like what Terry Francona said about him. I've seen him with his shirt off. He's not the Greek god of anything.
That was great.
Yeah, we actually, Pete, this will resonate with you. We're losing to retirement, like not the best way you could lose anyone is to retirement. Joe Castiglione.
Yep.
And you're just sneaky. This guy, like Mike Gorman of the Celtics, has really become like the soundtrack of a substantial part of your life. Sometimes you don't really drill down and notice a guy because he's not playing a character. He's not trying to come up with like clever quips. Sometimes a guy is just that steady beat, that rhythmic kind of like tone that tells you what's going on, paints a picture, makes it interesting. And both those guys were around for like 40 years here or whatever. It's unbelievable when you hear like old clips of them, and you go, my gosh, yeah, he was around when Larry Bird was here. Like,
Mhm.
he was around back in the 80s or whatever. And
Well,
yeah,
on the Campbell Sports Network back then, when the flagship station was 99.1 FM WPLM in Plymouth, Massachusetts, not even a Boston flagship. And they were the flagship for the Bruins, too, remember?
oh yeah, gee, I hadn't thought of that. That's a name I've not heard for a long time.
Joe was great, though. You're so right. And I used to love, um, radio announcers, particularly in baseball, because it's so nostalgic. And baseball still is, I think, the best radio sport. Some may disagree, but but he used to used to crack myself. Used to crack Glenn up. They'd be in the middle of a pennant race, and most of the mid '90s and beyond, and it'd be like the fourth to last game of the year, and they're fighting with the Yankees and whoever to be either division or wild card and everything else, and it'd be the bottom of the ninth, and the score would be tied. And then some obscure game, the nothing. It's like, the Rockies have scored in the bottom of the fourth inning. They take a lead in the Padres, like out of nowhere. like who gives a shit? But that was Joe. He was fantastic. I mean, he was fantastic. One of my favorite people of all time. Just a wonderful gentleman and human being.
Yeah, are you familiar with the novelty talking bottle openers that they have, where you'll see them sold at like the liquor store at the impulse purchase like section next to the register or whatever. And I had one that was a Red Sox one, and when you touch the bottle to it, it had two calls. One was Castiglione calling the end of the Yankee series in 2004, and the other one was the Red Sox have won the World Series for the first time in 86 years. Can you believe it?
You believe it?
Yeah, and when I hear them, it's like Pavlov's dog. Like I just start crying. Maybe it's from the beer. I don't know.
Well, Glenn and I were standing back of him and Troop when that happened. We're in St. Louis. We're at Busch Stadium. We did the show for him. We got locked out that day. We were for a half an hour late. We were doing the show because Busch Stadium locked us out. But we were standing right in back of Joe. I mean, literally 10 feet in back of him in the radio booth. So we witnessed it all live. It was fantastic. Before going on the field at Busch Stadium, watching Jimmy Fallon make a jackass out of himself because they filled the end of fever pitch. That was the way. I wanted to punch him in the face.
I agree totally. That was when the Farrelly brothers sort of transitioned from this movie is hysterical, laugh out loud, funny too. Oh, this is kind of sweet. Yeah, it kind of makes you smile.
Well, they had to reshoot it because of what happened.
Yeah. It was based on a book about British soccer where someone just lost all the time. And, this was going to be, they break his heart again. And they had to like improvise on the fly because, I mean, what are the odds of that? You know what I mean? Like you go 86 years and the one time someone's making a movie about you and you're supposed to lose that you don't. And yeah, it's not a good movie. And Jimmy Fallon acted like a dope, but it's still like this magical moment. I watched, I think I told you this when 80 for Brady came out. I watched it at the theater, prepared to hate it as like a vanity project.
I'm with you.
It's going to be these four women that, these Hollywood royalty, but they're going to be playing like rapping grannies and, horny old ladies or whatever. And then I actually liked the movie in spite of myself, and watching Super Bowl 51 on the big screen was it was just a surreal experience. Watching Edelman's catch, Hollywood quality film, 30 feet high across the screen. It was actually pretty golden. Not as much better than say the end of Fever Pitch.
All right. Lastly, the Patriots are a 10.5-point underdog, biggest underdog this week. Not surprised, but every underdog this year that's been 7.5 points or more, particularly on the road, they've all done a really good job. The winning percentage is crazy. The cover percentage is crazy. Not to mention the outright wins. What are you expecting this week out of the Patriots?
I got this recency bias going to the Thursday night game against the Jets, where they did absolutely nothing right, and they had a backup left tackle, and their starter is backup quality left tackle. And even their backup is no longer available. So they're going with a guy, and just wrote about him yesterday. His name escapes me. It's irrelevant. Their left tackle is going to be a guy who was an undrafted free agent 2 years ago with Denver, never saw the field for Denver. The Patriots pick him up. He took 14 snaps last week and still managed to give up a sack. I can't, being realistic, I just don't see a way that against the defense that was, I think, third in the league last year on the road, that they're suddenly going to find some sort of magic formula.
Well, City So is coming back, right? He's coming back this week, I believe. So back at left guard. And you're talking about Caden Wallace, I think.
Caden Wallace was hurt, and now there's a backup. They're on basically their fifth string left tackle, and we're only 3 games into the season. And it's, I don't blame the 5 guys who are their offensive line right now. I mean, they are who they are, and there's talent there.
Elliot Wolf put it together. I mean, that's on him.
It was total neglect. They just didn't address that situation. Everybody knew going in that it was a priority. 2 priorities in the offseason: get a quarterback, shore up the offensive line for that quarterback. Well, they did the first thing, and they ignored the second. And it's, Pete, there was a time when I used to just give experts the benefit of the doubt. I would go, well, what do I know about that? They know, and I don't. I'm just an idiot with a laptop. That kind of went by the boards about 4.5 years ago, when all the experts that we're supposed to trust were basically wrong about everything. Now I look and I go, all right, Elliot Wolf, he grew up at the knee of a Hall of Fame executive and his dad, Ron Wolf. He knows what he's doing. Just because I think it's a priority that they take care of the offensive line, and he doesn't think it's that big a deal and thinks they did do a good job, okay, I will defer to him. No, not anymore. Like, clearly, he just dropped the ball on this in spite of his pedigree, and they're paying a price now. So, look, maybe they'll cover at 10.5. I'm not here to give anybody gambling advice. Just bet responsibly. But I don't have hope that they'll win. I hope that they'll be competitive, that they'll start to develop a little bit more with the week and a half that they'll have had, because it's all about when is it going to be the right time to put Drake May in. That's been the question. It certainly isn't right now, but if they can show the semblance of a protection scheme and get their wide receivers involved a little bit more, then okay, then you can put the rookie in there. But right now I'm afraid that it's going to be like throwing him into the middle of a super highway and saying, good luck.
I understand that, but I also think he can make some plays. And I debated this with Christopher Price the other day I also think he can make some plays that Jacoby Brissett cannot make. And if Jacoby stinks up the joint, if they're not scoring in the first half, you got to roll the dice and bring him in. I mean, I'm tired of it. It's ridiculous. I think they'll play much better than they did against the Jets. But Jerry, I'm up against it. You are so awesome. So you are Dave Portnoy, your boss, El Pres. He's going to give $3 million to he's going to get. There's a lot of bets. There's a lot of offers being out there. He wants to give $3 million to Michigan to find a star quarterback. You want to give your plan. You say you'll give $50 to Notre Dame for a quarterback, and Michael Kay says he'll give $10,000. And I don't know if you heard this. One of the great lines of all time to mouth-breathing lowlifes who dare to challenge him on his comments about Brian Cashman. Did you hear that? And
no. I'll take it.
Mouth-breathing lowlifes.
All right, I'm drawing up my resume right now. I have many examples.
If you can find evidence that Brian Cashman and Michael Kay had some sort of conversation, and Michael Kay's been influenced by it on his talk show on 880 now in New York on ESPN Radio, he will give that person $10,000. You mouth-breathing lowlife. Jerry, you're the best. Thanks so much, my man.
My best to you and all your audience. It seems like you guys were prepared for this, and as much as you can be prepared for a thing. And you guys have made it tough stuff. When you name your college football teams after hurricanes, then okay, you're embracing this, and I respect the hell out of
the East Coast didn't happen. We were lucky where I am in Fort Myers, the part of Fort Myers I'm in, got very lucky. Fort Myers Beach is flooded again. Downtown Fort Myers is flooded. But where Angel is up in Tampa and north of him at Cedar Key and up in the Big Bend where they never had a Cat 4 hurricane hit that area, 15 to 20-foot surges. I mean, from Tampa up, it's basically to Tallahassee is underwater. It's awful, awful.
Right.
But
Praying for all of you guys.
thanks, my man. Love you, and all the best at Barstool. And I can't wait to see who Portnoy comes up with for a quarterback. Just don't take mine.
All right, fellas. Take care.
All right,
Thanks
bud.
for your time.
All right. Oh, my God. All right, Angel, quick break. We're up against it. I got to do my pigskin picks quickly after this break because then Gabe Morenz is coming up at the bottom of the hour. My pigskin picks are next, coming up here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. And guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it Gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Phil Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Mass. is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Don't miss the return of the legend, former Bruins goalie Tim Thomas. Tim will be at Sports World on Saturday, October 5th from noon until 2 p.m. Tim will be signing and taking photos. Prices vary, so don't miss this awesome event. Saturday, October 5th at Sports World, 184 Broadway in Saugus, Massachusetts. Call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Okay, men. This is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. How's everybody doing this morning? Ran a little late with Jerry Thornton, but that's okay. Always a great conversation. We really geeked out today with Lord of the Rings stuff and all that good stuff. Angel Martinez in the house. How goes it up there, Angel? How you doing?
Good. Tired.
Yeah.
But the sun's out, which is nice. A little breeze and some clouds out in the sky, but not bad. Just cleaning up to do after the show's over.
All right. Anything else coming up on the network today? I know you got. You're not going to have your show, but I don't think. But what is coming up on the network after this today?
Yeah, no, I won't be doing my show because I got clean up here after post hurricane, and then the drive with Q should be on this afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m.
Awesome.
And then come Monday will be the debut of Beeves World from 6 to 8 p.m. on Monday and Wednesday. So
And then he'll join you on Friday at 11, right, on your show.
Yeah.
Jay Flannelly, yes, up in Ann Arbor. That's awesome. That's great. All right, let me get my, it is time right now. Yes, it is absolutely time. My Pigskin Picks. Worked on this for 2 hours, as I do every Thursday after the show. So how it works is I give you my 5 top college plays, and then I give you I pick against the spread for every single NFL game, not winners, but against the spread. Anybody can try to pick winners. That's the cowardly way out. I try to go against, give you the spread. Then I will give you my best bet, which could either be college or pro. It could be a total. It could be a side. And then I give you my underdog of the week, the team that I think can win the game outright, and it has to win outright. Otherwise, it counts as a loss for me. So recapping right now after last week in the NFL, I am 25. I had a 500 week last week. 25, 21, and 2 so far this year in my picks against the spread in the NFL. It's a 542 winning percentage. My college football, I went 1-5 last week. Wasn't good, but we're going to rebound this week. College football now for the year, I'm 10-10, which is at 500. My best bets are 1 and 2. One last week. That's only a 333 winning percentage, but it's only 3 weeks. And my underdog of the week is 2-1 so far. That's winners outright, 667 winning percentage. So without further ado, here we go. And I'm off to a push this week because I had Dallas yesterday at -5, and I know I went up to 5.5, but I go by the lines that I've made on Thursday. So sorry, that's just the way it goes. All right. Starting off in college football, Angel and everybody, my top 5 plays coming up. Noontime on ESPN. Oklahoma State +5 at Kansas State. I think Oklahoma State has a chance to win this game outright. I'll give them the 5-point head start. I am not a big fan of what Kansas State did last week. They got humiliated. It took a while, but by BYU. So Oklahoma State, with the ultra-perm man, Mike Gundy as head coach, rebounds this week. Both had tough losses last week. Oklahoma State +5. Next. Michigan is hosting Minnesota at the Big House at noontime on Fox. I am going with the Wolverines -9. I think they're going to clobber the Golden Gophers. I don't mean humiliate them by 20, but I think they win by 14. Lay the 9 at the Big House with the Michigan Wolverines. Next. 3:30, only on Peacock. One of the best games, what I think is going to be one of the best games of the day, but you must have Peacock to get it. It is Louisville at Notre Dame, and the Cardinals are 6.5-point underdogs, and I'll take it. Louisville plus 6.5 at Notre Dame. I know it's a revenge game for Notre Dame because they lost badly in Louisville last year to this team, but I think Louisville is better than Notre Dame anyway, so I'm picking the Cardinals at plus 6.5 at Notre Dame. My number 4 top play, and these are in no particular order, by the way. It's just 5 games that I really like. Let's head to Auburn, Alabama. They will take on the Oklahoma Sooners in an SEC matchup. Still sounds odd to say that. But I like Oklahoma and Auburn under 45.5. That game's at 3:30 on ABC. Oklahoma and Auburn under 45.5. That total is way too high. Oklahoma, I know Tennessee's got a great defense as well as a good offense. Really shut them down last week, but Auburn stinks. Hugh Freeze is fighting for his job. It's amazing how sucky the Auburn Tigers are. They are awful. They have a hard time scoring against anybody. So I think under 45.5 is the play here. And then finally, my last college play is the big one. 7:30 on ABC. It's Alabama hosting Georgia. Alabama's +2. I'm loving the Crimson Tide. Love Alabama in the spot. Sorry, Kirby Smart and Georgia have had a hard time winning in Tuscaloosa. Alabama as a 2-point underdog at home. Nick Saban's going to be there. They're going to honor him. Game day is going to be there. It's going to be it's going to be absolutely all about Nick Saban today and the inspiration that he will give. No question about it. And Kalen DeBoer, I think it's going to be fine. I think the Alabama Crimson Tide get it done. President Trump's going to be there, so get there early because security will be up the ass. It'll be ridiculous. All right, so recapping my college, Oklahoma State +5, Michigan -9, Louisville +6.5, Oklahoma, Auburn under 45.5, and Alabama, love them, +2 at home against Georgia. Now we move on to the NFL. Again, Gabe Morency coming up at the bottom of the hour with his picks. So I started off with a push last night. As I said, Dallas -5 against the Giants. Field goal kicker misses an automatic for him, a 51-yarder at the end, missed it. For some of you, you were screaming. I pushed, not bad, but a lot of you guys lost. All right, let's start. New Orleans is at Atlanta. I am still not a believer in the Falcons, I'm sorry, despite Arthur Blank's generous hot dog, potato chip, and soda donations through the fans last week. I am still not. I am taking the Saints +2.5 at Atlanta. Next. Are the Cincinnati Bengals going to go 0-4? No! Of course, I said that last week about going 0-3 before they lost to Washington. I'm taking the Bengals -4.5. They're at Carolina. Can Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, the ultimate ginger man, can he do it again? I don't know, but I'm not buying into it. I'll take Cincinnati -4.5 at Carolina. Next, in Chicago, the Bears are hosting the LA Rams. The Rams are a 3-point underdog. I'm taking them. I'm still not a believer in the Bears, and Caleb Williams, while makes spectacular plays and has flashes, I think the Rams, what they did last week to the 49ers, they are going to piggyback on that. I think the Rams a 3-point head start in Chicago. I'm just not a believer yet in the Bears. Minnesota is at Green Bay. Should be another one. The Vikings are 3-0. Sam Darnold is playing out of his mind. Malik Willis is playing pretty well, too, for the injured Jordan Love at Green Bay. But I'm going to ride the Vikings here. I'm going to ride the purple. Minnesota +2.5 with the mini upset at Green Bay. Jacksonville at Houston. Can the Jaguars actually go 0-4? Is that possible? Doug Peterson playing for his job, coaching for his job, I should say. I'm going to say the Jaguars get it together, not necessarily win, but Jacksonville +6 on the road against Houston, also coming off a humiliating loss against Minnesota. Next, Pittsburgh is at Indianapolis. The Steelers are a 1.5-point favorite. That's good enough for me. I like the way their defense. That should be another ugly, low-scoring game. Justin Fields will be starting. Pitt -1.5. I think they win by a field goal to 7 points in that one. Next. Back to Citi Field. Denver is at the Jets. Jets haven't played since beating the Patriots a week ago last night. Denver, Bo Nix, on a roll right now. plus 7.5. Done a little bit of research here. I'm taking the Broncos plus 7.5 to cover against the Jets. Next, Tampa Bay is home against the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia coming off a huge emotional road win in New Orleans. Can they keep it up? Tampa Bay humiliated at home last week. I think the Buccaneers rebound. I think Angel is going to be a little frustrated this week. I think Baker and the Bucs at home will be inspired. Plus 1.5. I think this should be a hell of a game, defensive game, 17-14, something like that. But I'm taking the Bucs at plus 1.5. Next. Arizona's home against the Washington Commanders. Jaden Williams, you see what he did last week. Daniel, you see what he did last week. But I'm going with Kyle Murray. Arizona minus 3.5 versus Washington. This could be a very high-scoring game. I think it's the highest total on the board. Next, Patriots are at San Fran. The Patriots are plus 10.5. There's no way they're going to play as badly as they did last week. They got a couple of people coming back. And plus, in the NFL this year, dogs, particularly on the road, that are 7.5 points or more, generally have covered, if not won outright. Not saying the Patriots are going to do that, but I'll take the 10.5-point head start. Patriots plus 10.5. Next, Vegas. Home against Cleveland. Vegas minus 2. I still not believe in the Cavaliers and the Browns or Deshaun Watson. I'm taking Vegas minus 2. Chargers are 7 at home. 7-point underdogs are home against Kansas City. Kansas City didn't blow everybody out. You know, Justin Herbert is still banged up a little bit. I'm going with the Chargers at home with a lot of Kansas City fans will be there. Chargers plus 7. What should be the great game of the day, Baltimore on Sunday night. Baltimore's minus 2.5 against a red-hot Josh Allen and Buffalo Bills team. This is should be a very high-scoring game. I'm going to roll the dice here and go with the Ravens at minus 2.5. I think Buffalo's going to put up some points on this Ravens pass defense, which has not been good. And I think that the Ravens are going to have a chance to squeak this one out. 30-27, something like that. Should be a great game. Next, on Monday night, we got 2 of them again, which I hate. Tennessee plus 1 at Miami. That's what I got. I'm rolling the dice here. I think Miami is completely messed up right now at the quarterback spot. I'll take my chances with Tennessee plus 1. 7:30 on ESPN Monday night. And then Detroit is home against Seattle. I think the Lions will get it done against Seattle by double digits. See, Detroit minus 3.5 at 8:15 on ABC. Those are my NFL picks. My best bet of the week. We go back to college. It's a game I mentioned earlier. Oklahoma and Auburn under 45.5. That's at 3:30 on ABC. That is my underdog pick of the day. My best bet of the day. My underdog play of the day is also in college. Now, look constipated when you say this. Louisville. Over Notre Dame. They're plus 6.5. And again, my underdog has to win outright for me to win. So I have Louisville going to South Bend with a mini upset over Notre Dame. So there you have it. Best bet, Oklahoma, Auburn, under 45.5. Underdog of the week, Louisville over Notre Dame. So there you have it. Those are my pigskin picks. Joey says, wow, can't believe you guys are on the air. Good morning from Colorado. Glad you all are safe and sound. And I really hope UCF at the Bounce House bounces Colorado back to Boulder, Joey. No offense. But I hope that is the case. So, yes, we're on the air. Angel, up his area got it a way worse than what happened down here in my area in Fort Myers. But we're doing okay, Joey. And thanks, everybody, for checking in. Whew. I'm out of breath. And Angel, he said the sun is out. The sun is out, peeking out here as well. Here in Fort Myers. Just, again, most of the mayors in all these flooded areas, just stay away, stay home.
Yep. Let everybody do their jobs so they can clean up St. Pete, especially for those who live in the area. The Gandy Boulevard Bridge, the Gandy Bridge, is shut down. So the traffic is at not even a snail's pace. It's pretty much the entire span of Gandy Boulevard is completely shut down as they're still waiting to make sure everything was clear there. The same way with the Howard Franklin It's just been a mess in the area, and I can't believe a lot of people decided that they want to venture out. There was a person killed on the road yesterday because they decided to go out in the middle of the freaking hurricane as it was a Cat 4 in the area, and they were smashing a car by an overhead sign. So that was the first death of the night yesterday. So hopefully those who don't need to go out can stay home so that everyone, the power companies and all, can get the power back on for a lot of people who lost power, especially for these sewer treatment plants that most people cannot take a shower, flush the toilets, or run water because of the fear of the contamination. So they got 24 to 48 hours to clean it out.
Angel, before Gabe comes on real quick, can we scroll down? It's the first video. It's Christopher Mad Dog Russo. They're making fun of him on his Sirius XM show about if he knew anything. So since we're geeking out a little bit today, listen to this about his lack of knowledge, or some knowledge, but really lack thereof, of him naming superheroes. Before we get to Gabe's pick, it's the first video.
All right, here we are with the Mad Dog. So, Chris, the morning show is having a little fun.
Yep.
At your expense, as usual.
Why not?
DA with Babcheck in the morning, and you said something you've said before. You called Clark Hunt Clark Kent.
I've done that. Yes.
Okay. By the way, do you know who Clark Kent is?
Yeah, of course I do. Superman.
All right, so you got that one. They debated whether you knew.
Oh, of course I did. Here's the debate to them. Do they know who the actor is? Do they know who the actor is?
Which one? The original?
Yes.
No chance.
George Reeves. Did they also know that George Reeves was in Gone with the Wind? No chance. So they're making fun of me. I can break down George Reeves like you wouldn't believe, and they never heard of him, for crying out loud. You may continue.
All right, we digress. All right, I'm going to give you 5 right here, big ones. I'm going to give you their name, and you tell me the superhero that.
All right, you got it. I may not get it right. But
okay, let's try it. Tony Stark.
Do not know.
Okay, that's Iron Man.
Don't know.
Peter Parker.
Yeah, that's obviously Spider-Man.
Good job.
I know that. I've seen the movie. Matter of fact, Spider-Man 2, I took Timmy to Santa Fe, and we saw it with his grandparents, and Timmy was probably 8 or 9, and to this day, he can tell you the lineup in the seats where we all sat. So, yes, I know Peter Parker.
All right, they debated that one. This one I know you're going to get. Bruce Wayne.
Peter Parker's.
Oh, come on. Yes.
I told them you'd get that.
Adam West.
Thank you.
And that, of course, is Batman.
And for extra points, who was his sidekick?
Oh, come on, guy. And who's been on our air.
Exactly.
Because we had Burt Ward, Robin, when Adam West died. Boy, you guys are lost. Would you know how to track down Burt Ward? DA? Absolutely not. Tell him, Eddie, when he died,
one of our
Adam
great
West
spots.
got 88 years of age.
We loved it. And finally, Bruce Banner.
I don't know that one.
The Hulk.
I've heard of it. I wouldn't have gotten that. That's not terrible.
All right,
I
you
got
did pretty
some more
good.
than you. Got some more than you guys thought I was going to get. I am a Batman connoisseur. I mean, are you kidding? And I hate the movies because the movies goes by the comic strip instead of the TV show, and the TV show is better.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, that the Batman TV show was better, especially from the Christian Bale movies. You got to be kidding me. The Batman TV show, which I liked growing up as a kid, but I mean, come on. Especially when Batman was surfing, that really was unbelievable. I mean, you got the dog. That is awful. And, the Hulk is gone by Bruce Banner and David Banner as well, or Bruce Banner, Bruce David Banner, depending on what movie or script you're looking at. How can you say the Batman television show is better than the Batman movie? That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life, Angel. I'm offended.
That's okay. He's offended too because he doesn't know anything. But no, everybody's going to go by the comic strip. Nobody goes for us because when we were kids. Sure, everybody liked Batman the TV series, but they're always going to go by the original, which is the comics.
Well, no, but they do. But I mean, but what I think the Michael Keaton stuff and the other 2 movies, the other 3 movies, the George Clooney movie Batman was awful. But yeah, I think there's a story that Christian Bale really delved into the character. I mean, it wasn't just, Jack Nicholson was good as the Joker. I understand that, but Heath Ledger won an Oscar for it. God rest his soul. I mean, it was a different type. There were different types of movies than the Tim Burton movies. Let's put it that way. So, anywho, but to say the TV show is anything close to the movies is that's outrageous. That is outrageous. By the way, most of you know that I am when I'm not talking about sports and everything else, as we wait for Gabe Morency, hopefully he will be joining us momentarily via video as we wait for him. Most of you know when I'm talking about sports or watching sports, my relaxation therapy is watching cooking shows and all that stuff. And connected yesterday with, I believe, season 6 Master Chef runner-up Derek Fox, who is from Southwest Florida, who's now out in California. He is going to be joining us on October 10th at 9:30 in the morning. Connected with him yesterday. Fantastic. He is a great guy. If you know who Derek Fox is, Chef Derek Fox is also an outstanding drummer. He lives out in California now. But one of the most amazing talents on MasterChef during the, 13, 14 years that it's been on now. He should have won. I think he got screwed. Claudia, I believe, beat him out. And not that she's a terrific chef, but I thought Derek got screwed. But he was went to Estero High School down here in Southwest Florida. And from Naples originally, went to Estero High School and was always rooted for him. Really, really cool guy. You're going to like him. And yeah, I think he still has a podcast going on now called Hang Out with a Bunch of Losers. So it's him and a whole bunch of people came in second and third on MasterChef. And it's years later. And some of the kids from MasterChef Junior. And it's funny to hear some of the stories that they tell about what they went through, some of the younger kids when they were, between 8 and 12 years old, what they went through. And I think it was Lida who was on with him a couple of years ago when she was on MasterChef. I think she was like 9 or 8 years old, something like that. And he asked her, he's like, what'd your parents have to go through? What was the crazy thing? Social media. She goes, people wanted to see my feet and my shoes, and it creeped my parents out. It's crazy. Stuff like that. Of course, they're all older now. They're 18, 19, 20 years old years later. But Chef Derek Fox, he's going to join me. Just a little preview coming up on October 10th. It's a Thursday, I believe, at 9:30. So it was great connecting him. I reached out to him yesterday. He got right back to me right away. And he was wondering how all of us were safety-wise. And this was yesterday late morning. So I got back to him and I said, so far, so good. I said, my friends up in Tampa and North are not. But we're hanging in there. I gotta see if Gabe got caught up. I'm just gonna send him a message real quick here, Angel. So what's coming up on the network today?
Let's see. Joey B had earlier from Hurricane Helene to football picks to Batman commentary from Mad Dog. Coastal Sports Network got you covered. LOL. Pete Sheppard's Batman reviews too epic. And then he follows up with, not gonna lie, Pete, I was very disappointed with Hell's Kitchen in Vegas. Overpriced and get them in, get them out. Atmosphere not impressed. It is pretty bad.
I'll tell you, I've been there. I went there a couple of years ago. And here's the thing. I think if you go at night, I went during almost happy hour time. It was about 4:30, 4:45. I got a seat right away at the bar. And that's where I had my beef Wellington. Yeah, of course it's overpriced. The beef Wellington, but it's something. It's it's a bucket list thing. I thought the service was impeccable. It was clean. It was exactly what I thought it would be. Apparently, I just missed Gordon. He was there a couple of days before. And usually, I asked the bartender and the manager. They were very friendly. I talked to them for like an hour. It was fantastic. And he's like, no, Gordon's very thorough. Like he said, he usually spends about 3 weeks at that restaurant alone, a couple of times a year. Can't be there, all the time, but I guess I had just missed him by a day or two. He said he comes around all the time, greets people, walks around tables, and he's very rigid and professional, and everybody. And the beef Wellington that I had was absolutely outstanding. It was just like you see on the TV show, just like how he does it. And then afterwards, I didn't have a lot of it, but you have to have the sticky toffee pudding cake. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So anyway, I think it depends on what time you get there. But yes, those places, those touristy places, you get them in, get them out. I got you. I think it depends what time of year you go and what time of day you go. If you go again, I suggest going early as possible. Don't wait till the dinner rush hour. Meanwhile, Rick says Tampa Airport parking garage open now and at 11 a.m. Preparation. First arrival will start. Southwest first flight arrives at 1:30 p.m. Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. And I know here at RSW, that most of or a lot of the flights are on time. Not everything, but I know they're back open. And I know I am flying out to South Carolina in just a little bit later on this afternoon. Flying to South Carolina to pick up Luna, my 6-year-old rescue Scotty Terrier. And then we are driving back with Peanut Gallery on Saturday and should be back home here just in time for Alabama, Georgia, which will be her first official football game. Oh, thanks, Joey says, Peter, good luck with Luna. Thank you. Really appreciate you. Appreciate that. I don't know where Gabe Morency is, but I'm going to give him a few more minutes here because he's out in British Columbia area, Vancouver. And I know, let me see. While we're waiting for him, Angel, can we go to my Twitter page? And it's amazing, the Oakland A's. Final game in Oakland, June of 2019. Warriors moved to San Francisco, not this. Final game in Oakland, December 2019. Raiders moved to Vegas. And then final game, Oakland, September 24. A's moving to Sacramento. Can we scroll down? And let's hear from... well, first of all, let's scroll down right to Fox Sports MLB. This was the last out yesterday afternoon, and the Moneyball music was playing right in the background. It's crazy. This is the A's and the Rangers at the Coliseum.
Here's the 1-2, Giankowski to Schumann. And the ground ball will end things. A 3-2 win for the Oakland Athletics. One more win for the Oakland fans.
A W on a day that everybody in the Bay needed one.
Yeah, final 3-2, the A's win. I wish they had some sort of more nostalgic call of that. That was terrible. I should have brought one of the old A's announcers back in. I wish they had done that. But the ninth inning yesterday featured 2 fans jumping the fences to run onto the grass. Bottles were thrown into center field. Smoke bombs were set off, tossed into the right. Toilet paper and other debris also came down before manager Mark Kotsay took the microphone after the game with a heartfelt thank you to the fans and one last round of Let's Go Oakland. Also, the big chant during that game was sell the team, sell the team. Joey says Denver Broncos, after the Tampa game, flew to the Greenbrier in West Virginia, now flying today to New Jersey for the Sunday game at the Jets. The organization spent over $2 million this week on the team at Greenbrier. Well, interesting. I like them plus 7.5 because they've been treated like royalty. I like them plus 7.5 against the Jets. So we shall see. Let me see if I get a message from Gabe. I know sometimes he gets hung up, but nope, nothing yet. Nothing yet. All right, now on that same note, since we're talking about the A's and the closing of the Coliseum, Angel, can we scroll up? And Scott Van Pelt, it's right under, which I'm not going to play, John Sterling. But right under John Sterling on SportsCenter, here's Scott Van Pelt summing up the situation in Oakland.
Not just the A's leaving, it's the complete abandonment of Oakland sports fans by their teams. The Raiders were fickle, leaving, coming back, then leaving again. Warriors are still in the Bay, but there's nothing Oakland about their new digs. And now this. Other cities have lost teams, and it's gutting. To lose 3 is without precedent. You think Vegas is going to support the A's? Come on. The passionate, emotional goodbyes from those who love the team are to be expected. But ask yourself this. Have you heard even a single dissenting voice outside of Oakland? Anyone saying, oh, this is a great idea. You got it all wrong. This Sean Fisher guy, you got it wrong. He's a great guy. I haven't. This right here, this is just the worst of what sports can be. Heart goes out to you, A's fans. It's not just the A's leaving, it's the complete
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, hopefully we'll get Gabe on for something. Here's one of my favorite highlights of all time as far as the Oakland Raiders go. I've played it before as one of the classic calls in football history. It is the Raiders against the Chargers. It's Billy King and the Holy Roller. Sorry, I got to turn it up. That's my bad. There we go.
The crowd takes up a chant of defense. Robisky and Banaszak are the backs. Slot right. Branch inside. Bradshaw, Stabler back. Here comes the rush. He sidesteps. Can he throw? He can't. The ball flipped forward is loose. A wild scramble. 2 seconds on the clock. Casper grabbing the ball. It is ruled a fumble. Casper has recovered in the end zone. The Oakland Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play. Madden is on the field. He wants to know if it's real. They said yes. Get your big butt out of here. He does.
He does.
There's nothing real in the world anymore. The Raiders won the football game. The Chargers are standing, looking at each other. They don't believe it. Nobody believes it. I don't know if the Raiders believe it. It's not real. 52,000 people minus a few lonely Raider fans are stunned. A man would be a fool to ever try and write a drama and make you believe it. This one will be relived forever.
That is one of my all-time favorite calls. Oakland, Billy King, who was the Chargers announcer, by the way. Sorry, not the Raiders announcer, but nevertheless, the Oakland Raiders, and that's why they changed the rule after that. The holy rule, or you can't. Well, that's why you can't fumble the ball forward anymore, which clearly Dave Casper did on purpose back in the day. But nevertheless, it was one of those things. All right, what else can we do here? It looks like Gabe is not going to be able to join us. I do not think. Let's see. Okay, one last thing, Angel. If we could scroll down again to awful announcing, and it is Dallas Braden, reporter, who is just so upset that the A's are leaving. Announcer in Oakland. It's under awful announcing. And it was from yesterday, and it starts out to a lot of the folks in his town, in this town. He says, Jenny, this is religion. So this is Dallas Braden speaking yesterday. After
Hundreds of thousands of pictures and videos have been taken here in this final homestand. But I think for those people that are just standing around trying to let their eyes take in one last time the beauty that has become a gift to them. It has become a gift to their family, to their friendships, to their love of sport and baseball.
But to a lot of the folks in this town, Jenny, this is religion. This Coliseum has been their cathedral where they have come and made peace. They've come to escape. I think a lot of folks, given the opportunity, have a good idea, or at least they think they have a good idea on how they would say goodbye to an old friend. It's something that we know as people process emotions and things like this very differently. And I think it's wonderful to watch people take it in their own way.
Players, the way the schedule goes, tomorrow being a day game, it is still getaway day. They got to get on buses, get to the airplane, head on to Seattle for the final 3 of the season. So I know, as all players do, they look ahead and they say, this is going to be our night, our moment to take some extra time, make sure we give those waves to the fans and say thank you to Oakland. Appreciate the time on the field with their families.
There's a lot of history here. There's a lot of folks that were here long before you and I that have made this place what it is.
And that's it. It's community. It's the people that filled the seats that made it all happen. Anything from Raiders games to the concerts that have been here, and obviously the Oakland A's since 1968. Well, I hope you felt that tonight was about you, much like tomorrow will be as well, where we will gather, we will say goodbye one last time, one last game, and one last memory.
All right, obviously that was from a couple of days ago, not last night, but you get the general idea. Angel, I can't get a hold of Gabe. I don't know what happened, but I know he has a good excuse because I know he's jam-packed out there. So I'll tell you what, we're going to call it a day here on the Pete Sheppard Show. when next we speak, I will have Luna, my new Scotty Terrier. She will make an appearance on Monday, I promise you, just for a few seconds and a couple of minutes here. I know people want to see her. Thanks, everybody, for all the kind words. Angel, you stay safe. You and Debbie stay safe up there. And take care of your family. I know you got a lot going on today. Q coming up a little bit later on from 4 to 6 p.m. on The Drive. Rich Quinones. So I am Pete. I am off to South Carolina to pick up my dog, and I will be back on Monday at 7 a.m. Go Canes tonight. Kick Virginia Tech's ass. I'll see you Monday at 7 a.m. Bye-bye, everybody. Stay safe.